Ladies and gentlemen, we've got another treat in here because it's once again a GTM takeover of Sportswire Radio. We just can't get enough of GT Ministries. I got to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, we just love this company. And yes, I wish I had that shirt that Bradley has on right now. And excited to have him on because we've spoke about him quite a bit. We've actually heard his voice, obviously, on many of the matches that we've watched throughout GTM over the past several months, and very, very excited to get his side of the story, get his side of things on everything that's happening GT Ministries. So without further ado, here on the Sports Report, the number one global sports show, star here, commentator, and more for GTM, that's Bradley Cook Pattison. It's not quite Ben Hall, but how you doing, my friend?
Not too bad, how are you?
Oh, I'm very good to have you. Obviously, very, very excited to have you. Very, very excited once again to be speaking GTM. And there's so much to get into here, obviously. I'm going to get into it. Obviously, we broke it just before. Old School MC2 is going to be in the house in a little while. Also, Bentley's coming back on Thursday. So a lot to get into as we get ready for Judgment Day. But I want to ask you, you excited for Saturday or what? Because you're going to be on the call, my friend. You got a lot to talk about there coming this Saturday.
Am I excited? Absolutely. It's not every day you get to, sit close to the action, and it's not every day you get to see these larger-than-life people up in front. And, I always say there's 5 important ingredients in a match: the 2 opponents, the referee, the commentators, and everybody else involved. Then, as they really sell the match, and yeah, really excited as always.
You got the best seat in the house, I got to say, my friend. Literally, you got the best seat in the house coming up this Saturday.
Oh, no, I definitely have.
No question that we got a lot to get into here, obviously. Very, very excited for your story, and I want to just get right into it. So what do you make of all this back and forth? Let's go first with the World Championship match coming up this Saturday here at GTM. And, of course, if you like what you hear from GT Ministries, do give them a follow, of course, on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, GT Ministries UK, and Jack Johnson and Bentley. This is a war that has been months in the making. Obviously, we've seen Jack Johnson's got a tank now, literally. Bentley, the vigilante of pro wrestling, he's counted several promos, several videos that he's made where he's looking to take out Dangerous. He's even heard match stipulations that we've seen with Joe Cobra. We'll get into that. But, what do you make of what's going to go down this Saturday between the world champion now calling himself Jack the Champ Johnson from Salford, and, of course, our number one contender who beat Alex Boylan of Dangerous, and, of course, Rarebit, and also Maverick Matt Williams to be involved in that. So what do you make of the number one contender, Bentley's chances against Jack the Champ Johnson this Saturday?
Well, I was there for when Sean only turned on Bentley, and I can only imagine how much enthusiasm and how much experience it has given him to go forward to beat Jack Johnson on Saturday, because Bentley deserves it for what he's been through.
Okay, that's fair point, and I got to get to some comments in here because we've got some comments. So I want to get to this comment here from Pride, and I think this is directed at you because I'm not a commentator, obviously, for GTM, but he says here, with the horrific misnaming notwithstanding, I've yet to see a commentator with such a grasp on ring logistics with an entertaining demeanor. It will be a pleasure to work with you, and it is always a pleasure to listen to you. So your response there, because I guess it was a mixed bag, but a better than mixed bag. So give me your thoughts on these comments here.
Firstly, thank you, Pride. Thank you for your comments. Yeah, it'll be great to see what you can deliver on Saturday. I'm looking forward to it.
We're looking forward to that as well. And, of course, if you like what you see from Pride, make sure you follow his Facebook page, because something tells me here he's another one of these big stars here that we're going to continue to see developed here in GTM. And going back to this championship, I know you said that, obviously, Bentley's got the momentum, But I got to think here, though, Jack Johnson's got a lot to prove because he finally got the championship. He finally got one over on Gareth Angel, but he's not going to look to lose this championship here so soon.
Well, it's dangerous lurking about. We know how they interfere in a match. We know how he's used them in the past against people like Gareth Angel himself. We've seen how they can be used as an advantage, and I think Bentley really has to be careful that he really needs to be careful that to watch out for Dangerous, because they're going to be lurking and they're going to be close.
And speaking of that, of course, the man who was in the house last week is with us now, and that is, of course, Jack the Champ Johnson from Salford here. And he says here, I'm like Beetlejuice. When you say my name, I appear. And you got to be careful because you're going to be in the same building there at the Fountains Church with Mr. Johnson. And he may bring a tank there to Judgment Day. So your response to that?
Well, yeah, I've seen this tank shtick, and I thought that's going to be very interesting in the city centre of Bradford itself. If he brings it, who knows? Does it scare me? No.
Okay, all right. So certainly you're not scared. So let's get to some more comments here because we love those comments. And Jonathan Sheriff says pride, and he gives, I guess, is that like a face expression with like, I guess, a mustache or some type of expression there. And Jonathan Sheriff says to the champ, Jack Johnson, you're going down. So that's obviously big words for Jack the Champ Johnson. And we've got here also from Casey Jack Bradley, who's been a very, very good friend to us. Want to give him a huge shout out. Thank you for the friend request, accepting what I sent over to you. And he says here, how do you feel about new trainees joining GTM soon? So talk about that in the academy.
So I think the academy has been a pivotal success so far. It's always good to see new people come in. It really gives us, like, we're not a sports team in advance, we're a family. We have a connection with each other, and yeah, it's always nice to see new people come in and to hear their stories, and yeah, hopefully one day stand in front of them and have a good match.
We got a feeling we're going to have some great, great matches ahead here, and Jonathan Sheriff goes again here, chant my butt. So obviously he is a sheriff, so he's clearly not a fan of Mr. Johnson here, and he also says here, no better champ than the leader of the Angel Army. We're going to get to the Angel Army for sure. We're going to definitely get to the Angel Army, and we've got here Harv Singh here, let's go. So obviously, yeah, we're definitely excited about that, but I want to get back to the championship match because I will get to the tag team title match. I'll get to some of the other matches. Rarebit is also in the ring here, but when it comes to Dangerous, and obviously Bentley, we know, is not going to have the numbers game in his favor. So how does he combat that when it comes to the numbers game that Dangerous has to help Jack Johnson here retain this championship?
Well, Bentley's fast, he's agile, but he needs to have eyes in the back of his head and always watch his surroundings, as Dangerous could appear from anywhere. Also, there's a fair few people in GTM have a kind of something against Dangerous, as they're always interfering in matches. So Bentley will have to, just keep a watch out.
But who's going to take that initiative and say, you know what? I'm tired of what Dangerous is doing. I'm tired of Jack Johnson having the numbers game. Look at the size of Rarebit. Obviously, the Metal God Alex Boylan. I mean, look at what they bring to the table. I mean, who's going to take that initiative and say, hey, you know what? I want to help, because you know it's going to happen. You know Dangerous is going to make sure that, listen, Bentley's a big man. He almost broke the ring last time out at GTM, but something tells me here that he very well is going to have a big disadvantage here. I mean, walk me through that.
Well, Rabbit is a big, giant. He's intimidating. It's scary.
And he's the BTW champion to boot also.
BTW heavyweight champion. Alex Boylan, this heavy metal sex god. Again, another large person and somebody with a lot of courage and somebody with a lot of fire is gonna go against that, and they're gonna be like, stop, this isn't right. And just somebody with a lot of fire and a lot of heart and a lot of courage will come along.
Don't tell me who you think it is, but if I were to say that if there's anybody that could be that person or that group that could just maybe even the odds before we get to some more comments, I would have to think it could be the modern day mafia, Dave Douglas and Joel Cobra, because we kind of hinted at that, and GT Ministries kind of said, okay, management said, well, maybe we'll go into consideration June 11th for that 6-man tag. So, I mean, you know Joel Cobra very well. You've been on the call with him for a number of these different events. I mean, modern day mafia, have you spoke to Joel Cobra at all since he's last been on the air? I mean, what do you think?
I see Joel every Thursday at training, and I've seen his tactics. I've seen him train, and he works hard. Of course, the modern day mafia and Joel Cobra has problems with Dangerous and Jack Johnson themselves. And I believe that with Bentley and the modern day mafia could easily dismantle the Dangerous.
Well, we're going to certainly find out here. Obviously, the modern day mafia have got their hands full, and our guest, Old School MC2, in a little while is going to definitely talk a lot about that here for sure. And also, we have here Daniel Banner, cosplay kid, coming soon to GTM. I mean, you have a thought or two on that?
It'd be interesting to see what he brings to GTM, and it'd be interesting to see him on his journey.
And how important is that? Obviously, you're a part of the academy. You're also training to be also in the squared circle. I mean, for you personally, and for some of the people who I know who've been tuned in here over the past several streams, how important has the academy been for you and everybody else?
So you can look at this at two ways. The academy's been a great success, and it's been something for people who may have a mental health issues, where they can come in and really work together with other people who are like learning themselves, and it's just a really, really awesome place to be. Like, there's a lot of good people in there where we can go through stuff easily and safely with each other. In terms of I think it's a pivotal thing for Bradford and British wrestling itself.
No question about that here. And I'll also get to another comment in here from Casey Jack Bradley before I get to Old School MC2's comment. He says here, Alex Boylan, the so-called metal god who claims he's Axl Rose's body, when in reality he got banned from every Guns N' Roses concert. I mean, is that possible? Could somebody actually get banned from every single GNR concert? I mean, I know famously many, many years ago, Andrew Dice Clay got banned permanently from Saturday Night Live, but is that possible that somebody could get banned from every single Guns N' Roses concert or any band's concert? I mean, what do you think there?
I mean, it's possible, isn't it? I mean, there has been some instances of fans being banned for life from WWE events and AEW events.
Sure.
I guess for something so serious to happen, then I probably could get banned from every Guns N' Roses or any other band concert.
So I guess it's then would be fair to say, or depending on how you guys feel about it, obviously Jack the Champ Johnson is listening, but would it be fair for you and some that may say that that Metal God is not really the name of Alex Boylan?
Metal God, more like Metal Wannabe God.
Oh boy, that's certainly big words there for Mr. Blue, and something tells me that Mr. Blue is hearing that here. So let's get to some more comments here. Damo Christopher Hunter, looking forward to seeing you Saturday at GTM Judgment Day, brother. Absolutely. Of course, for everybody else, GT Ministries UK, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, get more information. Also want to give a huge shout out to Blue Glasses Girl right now, who is sharing our stuff here throughout her pages. She is a huge part also of the Academy. Cannot thank her enough for all the great things that she does here. And I got to get to a comment from the man that's coming on here, and I guess about 45 minutes or so here. And that is, of course, Old School MC2. And he says here, only when they get past the educators, meaning the modern day mafia. I mean, you've got quite a front row seat when it comes to the educators, and certainly Mr. Old School MC2. And he's going to be in the house here in a little while. I mean, it's now your chance to respond to Old School MC2.
Well. MC2. I never forget when you threw me off of the commentary desk at last GTM event, GTM King of Kings, when Dave Douglas took on Gung Ho Muttley. And you know what? It's going to be fun seeing that match, the triple threat tag match, where the CCW championships are on the line. And I can't wait to see Modern Day Mafia and the working class militia demolish the educators.
Ooh, big words there. Something tells me here that Old School MC2 is going to disagree with that here. We've got Pride back in the house, and thank you, Pride, for sharing our video on Facebook. I want to make sure everybody follows Pride and likes his page on Facebook. We definitely want to get him on here after the 14th, so I want to thank him for his support and friendship. And he says here, MDM are truly terrifying specimens. Absolutely units that I think is the common, forgive me for my mispronunciations. And he says here further that they've held somewhat of a grudge against Jack Johnson before Dangerous had his back when his pockets failed. Yes, we did talk about that. Failed to yield payment for the services rendered. I am sure they would be interested in a bit more of a payback if given a chance. Should they be alive after taking out both the educators and the working class militia? Excellent point, and I want to focus on that point by Pride in the fact that that's if the modern-day mafia survive, because they are going to be in a fight like we've never seen before at Judgment Day when it comes to the educators and obviously the current champions, the CCW Tag Team Champions, the working class militia, who were in the house Monday and had a huge stream on the CCW Facebook page where it was just the talk of everywhere. Joel Cobra was in the house. Old School MC2 was in the house. So, I mean, that last point I want to focus on, because will the modern day mafia even get out of Judgment Day alive?
Well, we've had strong words from Joel Cobra of Modern Day Mafia and the working class militia as well. And we all know that that match is going to be not a match, but a war. It's going to be a brawl, and it's not going to be in anybody's favour. Anyone would be lucky to walk out of that match still on their 2 feet. And you know what? It wouldn't be surprised me if, will the educators win it? No, probably not. Will Modern Day Mafia win? Possibly, yes. Who knows? Will working class militia win? Possibly, again, who knows? I mean, they're going to fight to return their championships. They're going to brawl to win their championships.
And they said also, which I got to bring up, the world champion of CCW is going to be in the house, and that is Chris Onyx. I mean, he adds a completely new element right now to top tier and CCW. I mean, he's going to be in the house. I mean, that very well. I mean, he's going to have a front row seat to all of this. I mean, what do you think he's a factor in all this?
I mean, well, he could be a part of it at all. He could interfere. He could not. But yeah, I think it will be a massive factor into the match itself, because the working class militia know the world champion for CCW is watching. Therefore, they want to take their tag team championships and return them and not let anybody take them from them.
Absolutely. And listen, they're not going to look to get embarrassed. They're not going to look to come into a new territory. They're not going to want to lose their belts. They're not going to want to go in here and get embarrassed. So that's certainly an excellent point here. And I want to make sure everybody also goes to the CCW page and follows them, because they have a huge event also coming up, the National Cutlery Brawl on May the 27th, which we'll be speaking a lot about here on Sportswire Radio. Casey Jack Bradley goes in, Alex boiling egg god. That could be determined here. Damo Christopher Hunter has something to say here when it comes to MC2, and he says here, MC2 is all mouth. He hasn't won a match at GTM. He's not going to win this weekend. Modern Day Mafia will crush the Educators. I mean, I can't argue with that.
There's a lot of history between Modern Day Mafia and the Educators. Of course, you had MC2 fast count when GTM was on Sunday Morning Live. Then you had the match between Joe Cobra and MC2 at GTM Exodus, I think, where of course Joe Cobra got the win, which he deserved. Then at GTM King of Kings, we had Dave Douglas versus Gung Ho Muttley, where cheating took place, and we all saw it. Everybody saw it. The crowd saw it. I saw it. Yeah, and they're going to tear each other apart. There's no denying that they're going to do anything to get that win on Saturday.
Let me ask you a question, though, because you said something interesting, and I had asked this question to the current tag team champions in CCW, there's the Working Class Militia. I mean, in one sense, it could be advantage champions because of the beef and the history between the Modern Day Mafia and the Educators, because if they're focused on each other, I mean, theoretically, all the Working Class Militia has to do is pick up the pieces and they'd be able to walk away with the belts relatively unscathed. I mean, there is a factor here that I think both camps between the Modern Day Mafia and the Educators have to still stay focused on the prize. That's walking away here and representing GTM and winning that tag team championship. So they've got to also kind of walk this line between still being focused, winning the gold, but at the same time, they've got a huge rivalry with one another.
Of course, and I reckon Working Class Militia are going to use that to their advantage. They know the history between Modern Day Mafia and the Educators, but are they going to be smart about it? Possibly. They might just wait for MDM and the Educators to tear each other apart and then capitalize on that and then, retain their championships. But I know that MDM are working hard and have a plan for Saturday.
Well, we're going to certainly find out here some of those plans here. Obviously, we've got more comments in here. Casey Jack Bradley says the Educators are going to get a lesson in pain courtesy of the Working Class Militia and the Modern Day Mafia. It's going to be an after-school fight. Boy, they used to say school would let out 3 p.m., whether it was in the UK or anywhere else, but it seems like it's going to be a little bit later than that because class is going to be in session because it seems like the Educators, according to Casey Jack Bradley, Gung Ho Muttley, and old school MC2 could be getting a big beating. And that reminds me of the days in school when you'd have to worry if somebody was going to fight you after class. You'd have to go down the halls a certain way, or you'd have to go in the schoolyard. That's very well the mind that he has here when it comes to that. And Harry Call says Bentley's going to win the title off Jack Johnson. So, I mean, I'm guessing that you might agree with that. I mean, what do you think?
Well, I don't know what's going to happen. Bentley has the determination to become champion. But will Dangerous get involved? I mean, it's not a spoiler, is it? We all know Dangerous are going to be a part of that match in some way. But will Bentley overcome them and win? Or will Jack cheat to win?
We're going to certainly find out here. We've got more comments in here. Daniel Christopher Hunter says, the Educators are going to get dismissed by the Working Class Militia and the Modern Day Mafia. I mean, listen, it's a strong possibility that could very well be the case. I mean, certainly you would think, though, in one sense that the Working Class Militia, the odds are only 33% that they could retain the tag team championship. So, I mean, conversely, we'll go back to the world title match, but I would have to think, though, again, Working Class Militia have to have something up their sleeve here. I mean, because the forbidden door has been opened now. This is a big deal what GTM is doing because we're seeing now that the forbidden door has been permanently opened. We're seeing CCW and GTM work together. We're seeing UKW, BTW right now on this card being represented. So I would have to think that there has to be a trick up the sleeves of the working class militia?
Well. Yes, I mean, let's face it. Working class militia are both smart men. They want to come in, they want to fight, they want to brawl, they want to war, they want to walk out with their tag team championships, but they're gonna capitalize on the history that has been embodied between educators and MDM, and the working class militia are going to. This is a prediction of mine. I reckon that working class militia will walk out as a CCW tag team champions.
Say that one more time for those who are watching and listening on Sportswire Radio, what you just said.
This is a prediction, but I predict that the working class militia will walk out and still CCW tag team champions.
Now, the reason I asked you that before we get to some more comments is you've been on the call with Joe Cobra quite a bit in the past. I was automatically thinking, especially with your history, also with old school MC2, that you would have told us that you would have said and knew tag team champions, the modern day mafia. So you're calling it as you see it. You're calling it down the line here, I got to say, after hearing that.
Well, knowing my history with Joel himself, and of course MC2, do I have every faith in modern day mafia to claim the championships? Absolutely yes, but theoretically thinking, is it going to be possible with the destruction of the educators and the plan of the working class militia? No, unfortunately not. But it would be nice to see Joe actually win for once.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, he did get a win a few months back. He did get a victory. So, I mean, he does have that there and a feather in his cap. So we want to make sure we do point that out here. And we've got some more comments in here. Let me get to them. So people don't want to hear what I have to say. We want to hear what everybody else has to say because that's important, right? So Casey Jack Bradley says here, Jack Johnson has a tank. Bentley is an Iron Man. And we all know what Iron Man do or did to a tank. So that's a fair point there. So we'll see here. Harry Cole says Bentley basically is the winner. He could very well be Bentley 2 belts. We're going to get to that here in a second. And Jonathan Sheriff also says here MC2 cannot be underestimated. Well, we're going to find out in a little while. Certainly what old school MC2 has to say. So he's going to have a lot to say. Something tells me here he is going to have a lot to say. We've got a message here. And certainly we've got something from GT Ministries management here. And it says here, sent from Bent Hall. So, I'm assuming we're going to get a follow-up. So we'll hang on to the Fatal 4-Way question, but we're assuming we're getting another comment in here from management because we have this here just sent from Ben Hall. So I'm assuming that we're going to get something. So hang on tight here. And while we wait for that also, we'll get to that also in a second. But while we are here on Sportswire Radio, if you like what you hear from GT Ministries, can't stress it enough, GT Ministries UK, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Also subscribe to the YouTube page. Also make sure if you have a chance, get out there to the Fountains Church this Saturday. Support GTM. We do a lot of great. It's not just about wrestling. It's about faith. It's about friendships. It's about music. It's about networking. This is what GTM does. GTM is not like any other company. We're working with other companies. We're working with the community. There's been articles recently written, all the great things that's going on here. You need to follow the company. I am the host of the Sports Report, the station manager of Sportswire Radio, the Reverend Tom Bryce. And if you are like a Harry Cole and you're listening to this, like us on Facebook at Sportswire Radio. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You can listen to all of our great content on sportnarium.com/player. And of course, you'll be hearing old school MC2 in a little while. Bentley's in the house tomorrow night, so we're going to have a lot to hear from Bentley. He's going to have, Bentley right now is going to have Iron Man and tank-like comments, I have a feeling. So Bentley and Jack Johnson, that's going to be a never-ending war of words. We're looking forward to that here. So I guess we'll wait for what GTM management has to say. I'm assuming because we had sent from Bent Hall, so I'm assuming there was something else with that. In the meantime, while we wait for that comment, let's get your thoughts, Bradley, on the upcoming Fatal 4-Way match, which we're going to see the BTW Championship defended here. Obviously, Rarebit, who's also a huge part also of Dangerous, he'll be in the ring against the UKW World Champion, Mustafa Khan, the UKW TV Champion, Cayman Carlisle, and of course, the wild card entry of Andy Poole. So, I mean, and the winner of this is going to be the new number one contender coming up here at the next Wrestling Church on June the 11th, whoever comes out of Bentley and Jack Johnson and whoever is alive. So give me your thoughts after what Damo asked on who wins that Fatal 4-Way match.
Well. That much something interesting. You know, that is a lot of mass in the ring itself. I hope the management are actually going to reinforce it because it's going to need it. I'm not very. I've seen Mustafa Khan wrestle. It was at I've seen him wrestle a fair few times, and he's not to be underestimated. He's an unstoppable force. Rarebit, also another unstoppable force. We've seen what happens when he is masked and he's unchained. You know, Cayman Carlisle, you know, an underdog in a match full of larger talent, then yeah, it's going to be a slobber knocker. It's going to be hectic. It's going to be chaotic. Personally, I think Mustafa Khan could come out with the win.
So you're going to say here the UKW champion Mustafa Khan here gets the win. He's the new number one contender. You don't even think, hey, you don't want to take the apple at the bite here before I get to some more comments that, let's say, I don't know, Rarebit wins, and then all of a sudden we get that whole dynamic there with Rarebit and Dangerous. You don't want to go down that road, huh?
Well, if Rarebit won, that would be an interesting arc. It's really like the Mega Powers facing each other at WrestleMania. It would be interesting to see how that match would actually go.
Mr. Johnson, you heard his comments last week. Mr. Johnson really wasn't too worried about that because he says he controls the beast. He controls the monster in Rarebit. So he's not worried about that if that was the possibility. He's not worried about it.
He may not be worried about it, but deep down, I reckon he is worried about it. I reckon he's scared of Rarebit. Deep down, that's why he keeps him around.
I think a lot of people would be scared of Rarebit, and obviously Bentley's going to see if he can tame the beast also because he is the number one contender over there in BTW. But I got to get to a comment here from somebody I'm sure you may or may not have heard of. So let's get to his comment because this very well, it may or may not be addressed toward you, but it's certainly addressed toward GTM management. So let's bring this individual in here because we like to give everybody a shot. And that is Big Bad Bailiff. Triple B. And he says here, it's nice for others to get a chance to debut before him. I mean, does he have a case? I know you're not management, but management, I know you're watching. I know you're listening to this. What's your thoughts?
Well. Big Bad Bailiff himself.
He's a big bad man. Look, he looks like the big boss man almost, like circa like 1999.
You know, I've seen him at training. I've seen what he can be capable of. Does he intimidate me? No. Am I bothered that I got to debut on a GTM show before him? No. It's just luck of the draw. And, you know, I'm sure he'll be lurking around on Saturday. And maybe one day he will get to debut.
So why do you think he hasn't debuted? You say it's luck, but he makes a case here, and he's got another comment. But before I get to that, why do you think he hasn't got that opportunity? Did he do something? Is there? You say luck, but is it more than luck?
Well, I think more than luck. I mean, he's a bailiff. He's been going around searching for the money he's been looking for. Maybe he found the money and now he wants a shot in a GTM ring.
Well, I mean, Isn't that no different than the modern day mafia? Because we know that they were for hire. Certainly their relationship at one time with Mr. Johnson. So, I mean, he might make a case that he's just doing his job.
Possibly, yes. Of course. You know, can Mr. Bailiff, I shall call him, you know, it's just you got to be there and you got to do the job. And unfortunately, I've never seen Mr. Bailiff at a show yet. So
maybe he hasn't had a reason to be at a show.
Well, possibly. Or maybe he's not actually had something he's had to collect from a wrestler at the show, therefore meaning he wasn't there.
Interesting point that you might have made there. More comments in here. Big Bad Bailiff is in the house, and I want to say this for Mr. Big Bad Bailiff. If he wants to come on Sportswire Radio anytime to air his grievances out toward GTM management, we give everybody a shot here. So, Mr. Bailiff, if you want to message me after we're off the air, we can definitely have that conversation, and we can certainly make that happen. We definitely give everybody equal time here on Sportswire Radio because, well, we are radio. You're supposed to give everybody equal time here, so that's kind of the whole point of radio, right? But he says here he'll show the meaning of intimidation. That's for Big Bad Bailiff, and Big Bad Bailiff also comes on here and says, Pride and Josh Ho get their chance. It should have been me. I'm coming to collect what's due. Now, when is he coming to collect what's due is the question.
Firstly, Dolph Ziggler circa 2018. He could show up any time. He could show up Saturday. He could show up June the 11th. He could show up any time. But will he show up? I have no clue. Am I expecting him to show up? Absolutely. And when he does, he's got a good chance of showing me what he's got.
Now, before I get to some more comments in here, Blue Glasses Girl has joined us. I will get to Blue Glasses Girl, but I have to give you this comment because I think Mr. Bailiff is directing this toward you. So you're going to want to see and hear what I have to say. He says here, I have a court order with your name on it, Bradley. Just have to deal with Pride and maybe Josh Ho first. So it sounds like for everybody watching and listening on Sportswire Radio here, Mr. Bailiff has got an order that he's coming after Bradley Cook Pattison. Let's say you.
I have no words to say, so I'm just going to let actions speak louder.
Ooh, oh, and he's put out the hand gesture. Ladies and gentlemen, he just put out the hand gesture. It sounds like to me there very well could be a GTM Academy takeover here of Sportswire Radio. Forget about Judgment Day. It seems like the Academy is calling their own shots. The Academy is calling their own matches here. I mean, ladies and gentlemen here, I don't know what's going on here. It seems like pandemonium has taken place here on Sportswire Radio. More comments in here from Blue Glasses Girl. She says, Big Bad Bailiff sounds like he's ready to collect from Bradley. Do you owe him a debt?
I owe nothing. If you want some, you can come get some.
Oh. Always the gentleman. I'm assuming that's toward Bradley, I assume. And Blue Glasses Girl seems to agree. All of the GTM Academy will be on the show. It's a GTM takeover. So it sounds like, yeah, we're getting a GTM takeover this Saturday. So it sounds like your comrades there are going to be in the house Saturday. I mean, that's big words there.
Of course. And, you know, the Academy is thriving and it's getting bigger by the week. It's management, please, you know, we want to take over. We want opportunities for more of the talent in the Academy.
You might have to just force those opportunities there. Listen, If you're listening right now and you're in the academy, my advice as the host of the Sports Report and the station manager of Sportzwire Radio, the Reverend Tom Bryce, just force the opportunities. Don't ask the management and say, oh, well, do you think maybe if I set the ring up nicely today or if I hold the door for somebody that I could be at the... No, just do it. Just go out there and make your case claimed here. We have more comments in here. Let's try to get to all of them. I've got Big Bad Bailiff, but let me get here first to Chris Sunshine Everyday Lee. Does he make these court orders himself? They always seem to be made out for exactly what he wants when he wants. Is the ink still wet? That's a question that's going to be for Big Bad Bailiff. Also, Casey Jack Bradley. The only way to tame Rabbit is to break the chain that binds the beast. Well, I mean, Jack Johnson says that he's the guy that can tame him. We're going to find out if it's Mustafa Khan, if it's Cayman Carlisle, if it's anybody else that might have that opportunity, or even Bentley and BTW. And certainly, Mr. Bailiff has responded here because he says here, the challenge has been issued. The law will be laid down. What do you think?
What an interesting name, Big Bad Bailiff. Doesn't really make sense when you get a super kick, a pedigree, 1, 2, 3. It'll be Big Bad Loser.
Ooh, ladies and gentlemen, I think it seems like a challenge has been issued and a challenge has been accepted here on Sportswire Radio. And Casey Jack Bradley, we heard his comment again. New faces, new blood. I love challenges. We all love them here on Sportswire Radio. It seems like we're the place to be for challenges left and right here. So it seems like here, Blue Glasses Girl has responded. Yes, Bradley is the gentleman. I can't imagine him owing anything. I think I should check that court order in the ring. That sounds like maybe that's an investigative story that Blue Glasses Girl is going to try to get the exclusive on here, either between now and certainly a Judgment Day for GTM. So something tells me here between now and Saturday, we're going to get more information here on that. And then Big Bad Bailiff is in the house once again here. He says, can't pay, I'll take you away. But first, I'm collecting from Pride. So it seems like right now, Bradley, you just might be off the hook temporarily. So let me give you a temporary congratulations, because right now, you're temporarily off the hook.
Mr. Big Bad Bailiff, if you want to, I'll see what you do with Pride. And then if you want to come over to the desk and talk to me face to face, man to man, feel free.
Would you want to hear from him face to face this, I don't know, Saturday night at the Fountains Church?
You know what? There's an old song, Saturday nights are all right for fighting. So, Mr. Bailiff, if you want to come over, if you want to talk man to man, if you want to fight, Saturday night, you bring it.
I tell you what, if you hadn't thought about buying a ticket to the Fountains Church, you need to, especially after everything we've heard here on Sportswire Radio over the past week. And now we're seeing individuals here basically making their own matches without management. I mean, it's basically GTM has run amok. There is no order right now. There is no law and order. No pun or pun intended, depending on how you see it right now. Clearly, right now, there is no telling what can happen. These are reasons why you need to be there Saturday night at the Fountains Church. Because, listen, for a few pounds, you come out considering what your 401k looks like, your mutual fund looks like, your crypto account looks like. Just take that money out because you ain't going to have any money left in a couple of days considering the economy right now. Put that money in to the Fountains Church to see GTM's Judgment Day, because you got world championship matches from other companies. You've got tag team championship match. You've got, obviously, what's going to happen between Jack Johnson and Bentley. We still haven't gotten to the Angels Army. We've got Rarebit in action, the BTW champion. There is so much to get to here. These are reasons why you need to go out there. GT Ministries UK, and follow. We got more comments in here coming in. Let's get to those. Big Bad Bailiff says, just wait for my finisher. I may even put Pride through your damned announce table. Ladies and gentlemen, we've heard it here first on Sportswire Radio. Somebody's going through a table. You're going to have to call, it looks like some matches here, standing up. You're going to have to stand up and call these matches. Get ready, because Big Bad Bailiff has said, listen, get the tables, because there ain't going to be tables by the end of things at Judgment Day.
Well, the Dudley boys called, and they want their tables back. You know what? I'm not scared of you, Big Bad Bailiff. You know, you're just another cog in the system that I'm going to get through.
Ooh, we've got more comments. Let's get to those here. Big Bad Bailiff says, I'll bring law and order to GTM. Well, it does sound like we could use law and order right now in GTM, considering the chaos right now in the Armageddon we're seeing here. Listen, Resurrection was the last event, but certainly it seems like a Judgment Day is coming. And it does seem like, from what everybody is saying, GTM may never be the same after this Saturday. And we've also got Casey Jack Bradley. I would love to come on your show to let people know more about the cosplay kid, since everyone is introducing themselves. Absolutely. Definitely message me after we're off the air, and we can certainly work out a time and date, and we will continue to make that happen to get all of our GTM stars on here. So, my friend, definitely hit me up. Definitely give me a message here, and we'll work something out maybe for next week. So definitely I look forward to that. So definitely hit me up after we're off the air. I definitely will get to you on a time and that. Blue Glasses Girl says, I can't imagine BBB, the Big Bad Bailiff, talking face-to-face calmly. He's not a gentleman like Bradley. Your response?
Well, you know, I've dealt with people like that in the past before, and I'll deal with them again. I'm not scared of them. I've been through Judgment Day, back. Bring it.
Ooh, ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you one thing, and I continue to say it. I know that we're going to have a copyright issue when I continue to say this, but I keep thinking of the Van Halen song Judgment Day. I keep thinking about Eddie Van Halen's guitars and Sammy Hagar's vocals and the lyrics to that song. And that song, Judgment Day, certainly to me is perfect for what we're going to see coming up here this Saturday at the Fountains Church. And we've got more comments in here. Big Bad Bailiff says, Pride will be judged. So certainly, I guess you might say, the judge, jury, and the execution could very well be Big Bad Bailiff. Something tells me that Pride is going to want to have an opinion on that and definitely feel differently coming up here this Saturday.
Well, I'm interested to see what Pride can bring. I've seen his match when in Castleford, and I liked what I saw. And you know what? I don't think, but I think Bailiff is all words and no bite. You know, he comes on here, talks the talk, but can he walk the walk? He probably won't show up.
Wow, okay. That's certainly big words there. And we've got more comments in here. Let me get to them. I'll try to get to as many people as I can. And Pride says, I have no fear of you, Bailiff. The only thing that I have that I think you need is tact, maybe integrity, some honor. If you think you can collect, I welcome your attempt. So apparently, Mr. Bailiff, it sounds like that Pride is saying, bring it on. Okay, well, I guess we'll wait for Big Bad Bailiff to respond, because something tells me he will. But in the meantime, let's get back to Blue Glasses Girl, because she's got a good comment in here. And let's get your perspective on it, Bradley, because we haven't spoke about it yet. And that is, do Jack and Dangerous need to worry about Mr. Gareth Angel, the former champion, and Angel's Army? I mean, we saw how things ended at the last event. We saw a Gareth Angel that we've never seen before. That is the big open-ended question here. We also know what happened between Maverick Matt Williams and his selling out and him helping Dangerous and Jack Johnson win the championship, him turning on Gareth Angel. I mean, what do you think happens with the former champion, Gareth Angel, and now that the Angel's Army has been activated?
Well, we all know how the casket match ended, and we also know what happened after. You know, the resurrection of Gareth Angel himself. but it wasn't the Gareth Angel we knew when he had the belt, when he was a jovial, happy champ. He had a fire inside him that's been lit, and there has been a change, an awakening inside of him. He has been reborn by fate, and he's a man on a mission to regain the gold that he lost. And if he's got to tear through Matt Williams if he's got to tear through Matt Williams and Dangerous to get there, I believe he will, because the look in his eyes that I saw after that match, I've never seen it before.
Absolutely here. So let's get to some more further comments in here. We will hear from Old School MC2 in a little while, so hang on tight for that. Certainly, if you're the CCW Tag Team Champions, the Working Class Militia, and the Modern Day Mafia, you're going to want to hear that. Casey Jack Bradley says, I keep thinking of a new faction in the WWE called Judgment Day with Edge, Damian Priest, and Rhea Ripley. Well, I mean, I guess I keep thinking of the Van Halen song because in WWE, listen, they're inferior to GTM. Because remember, GTM is the premier company. Because everybody wants to be like GTM. Everybody wants to be like BTW. Everybody wants to be like UKW and CCW. Because this is where the wrestling is. WWE, they're just imitating off us. Remember, we're the company. We're the place that wrestlers want to be. This is where the wrestling happens. So, I mean, Casey Jack Bradley, we love what's going on there, but GTM is where we want to be.
Unlike WWE, GTM actually blows down the forbidden door.
WWE would never blow that door down. You think WWE would work with AEW? Absolutely not. You think that WWE would work with the NWA? Absolutely not. You think that WWE would work with All Japan or New Japan? Absolutely not. Who's working with companies? It's GTM. Who's working with CCW? Who's working with BTW? Who's working with UKW? We are doing that here.
Absolutely. And, GTM was the first wrestling promotion in the entire world to host a wrestling church. And that itself is immense and extraordinary. And, it's down to the management themselves. What we're doing is probably what is best for the business in this decade.
Before I get to a few more comments, personally, what you just said, I want to ask you personally, after what you just said, what does that mean to you, to the fact that GTM was the first to do that when it comes to a wrestling church here in the UK? What did that mean to you personally?
Well, to be there, to feel the emotion and the energy and the excitement in the room was just immense. And to call the matches that were on the card, it was such an honor, and it was such a privilege to be involved with it and be involved in history. And yeah, it still speaks to this day.
No question. I could certainly see why here. We've got some more comments in here from Nathan Fuller Worth, the Pat McAfee of West Yorkshire U. So obviously, that's certainly strong words. And we think, no, it's Pat McAfee trying to imitate Bradley Cook Pattison. That's the way it's going to be here. So Big Bad Bailiff says here, Pride, the Shadow GM just loves your rainbow flag. And while the court has ordered that it is to be repossessed by me, and it'll be used to choke out the opportunity that was mine. Is that legal? Can somebody choke somebody out with the flag? I mean, I don't want to condone, as Anthrax famously sang, random senseless acts of violence. So I guess, is that legal in GTM, or am I? Anybody want to double check that?
Well, I certainly wouldn't want to see it, especially with a flag that means so much to so many people. I think if if that was to happen, how much disrespect would that show a community? How much disrespect would that show to Pride? And you know what? Big Bad Bailiff, you just words, man.
We'll certainly see here. And Blue Glasses Girl says here, management wants to know, when am I coming to the UK? Well, we'll work on that. Obviously, I know Franco Varga was in the house here for a big tour, and and we'll certainly figure out if I can get the Franco Varga treatment. So we'll certainly see here about that. And I know we're about 10 or so minutes away from Old School MC2, which kind of segue me into the CCW champs. Our boys, they were here. They were on their own stream Tuesday, and hopefully things get worked out here, and the champs are in the house. So I'm going to give you the opportunity. Mr. Pattison. And what do you want to say to the current CCW Tag Team Champions? And Slugger, I got to tell you, Bradley actually predicted that you guys are going to walk away as champions. So you got to give him credit here. Slugger, he was on the record about 25 minutes or so ago before Old School MC2 comes on here that he's got you guys walking away and continuing to be CCW champions. So you're now time to speak, Bradley, to the champs. What do you want to say?
Well, I believe that the working class militia are smart gentlemen. I believe that they know the history of the modern day mafia and the educators, and they are going to use that to their advantage. And yes, I do predict that they will walk out as still CCW tag team champions, just because of smart. They're there for a fight. They're there for a brawl. And if they're going to wait for the educators and the modern day mafia to, destroy each other, then I'm sure they will.
All right, we'll certainly see about that here. And Slugger seems to agree with you. He says, "Seems like a wise man." I mean, do you want to join the working class militia? Do you want to join them? Do you want to join them in top tier? I mean, is that maybe something you have to mind?
Not really, no. I'm not really into tag teams and factions.
Okay.
I'm in it for myself. But if the opportunity to join a team or a faction of us, then possibly, yeah.
All right, stay tuned for that here. And also, Big Bad Bailiff says, "I'll make it legal." Also here, Damo Christopher Hunter says, "Does Maverick need to worry about Angel as he wants answers?" I'll ask you that very quickly. Do you think that Maverick Matt Williams needs to worry about Gareth Angel before we bring on Old School MC2?
He absolutely does. He's awoken something with inside Gareth Angel that nobody has seen before.
Okay. That's certainly fair points. And Blue Glasses Girl says there is no way the pride flag is being repossessed. That's one thing that won't be allowed. Well, that goes to my point. I was asking if that's legal. So that's certainly a fair point. Big Bad Bailiff says, "Disrespect. I'll tell you about disrespect. It's what the Shadow GM has done to me. This Saturday should be my opportunity, not some namby-pamby masked fledgling and a rainbow warrior. Come on." Well, I'm going to plead the fifth on that, but what I will say is, Mr. Bailiff, if you want to come on Sportzwire Radio and speak with me, I am certainly an open door, and we always welcome anybody who has comments and wants to talk about their grievances with anybody. I'll be happy to have you on and talk about that. And also here, Sluggard says here, for you, Bradley, in order to join us, you have to bleed with us first. So do you want to bleed with the working class militia? Do you have a razor blade somewhere? Or you want to bring a razor Saturday? You want to bring a knife and maybe cut yourself? Maybe the guys will let you join.
Not this Saturday, no. I prefer to keep clean.
Fair enough. I can respect that. All right, so certainly those are some things here. And we got about 5 or 10 minutes or so until Old School MC2 is in with us. And Big Bad Bailiff says here, maybe after Judgment Day, I'll have more to talk about. Well, I'll tell you what, Saturday ain't too far from now. So if you want to come on the air with us and talk, I'd definitely be happy to have you there, my friend. So certainly you're definitely welcome. And if you want to message me after I'm off the air, we can definitely talk about that. And we can certainly make an order, or we can make a judgment, whatever you want to call, how you want to put the terms in. We'll make it happen. So certainly we'll make that something that's a top priority for us here on Sportzwire Radio. So I want to ask you here before we get into Old School MC2 and get him into the conversation, because we have a lot to get into with him. What are your goals here for 2022 before I get closing thoughts from you?
My personal goals are to have my first match, climb the ladder of GTM, and gain that GTM Academy Championship.
Ooh, okay. Okay, so those are definitely some big words there and some big thoughts there. And what does GTM mean to you?
Oh, GTM, the land of opportunity itself. You know, people walk in, people walk out. You know, I'm a GTMer for life.
And that's just too sweet. And Big Man Bailiff says it would be an honor, Your Honor. Well, you should actually know I am a reverend, and also I actually am what's called a notary public in New York. So technically, I am considered an honorable. So that's completely fine. But I'm joking around here. And Big Man Bailiff says the Academy Championship is mine. Those are things here that'll be fair, and we'll talk about that. And Damo says when you get to the main roster, who would you be your dream opponent? I mean, you got Old School MC2s coming on in a few minutes. You've got, obviously, Joel Cobra, who you've done some calling with. You've got Gareth Angel. There's a lot of people you could mention there.
There is, who would like, Bentley, somebody I'd like to go in with.
He's a
Jack
big
Johnson
man. You sure you want to go up that tree?
Oh, I'm sure. Jack Johnson, Mr. Angel himself, people like that.
All right, those are certainly fair things here, and we have more comments in here, and we'll see what we've got here. And he says here, even the bailiff is afraid of the resurrected angel. Wow, Big Man Bailiff is basically going on the record saying he's afraid of the new Gareth Angel. I am so curious what happens with this new Gareth Angel. What happens there? Because we still don't know what's going to happen. That is certainly a very fair point. And Chris Sunshine Everyday Lee says it's going to be an epic night. Looking forward to both seeing it in person and rewatching the recorded stream afterwards for the commentary. Adds a whole new aspect to the fight. What does that mean to you in terms of being able to call these matches and to be able to paint a story for people like myself, right? Because I'm in New York. And I can't be there at the Fountains Church, but I can follow everything. I can keep up to date live as we go and be able to do the things and be able to keep up with the things like no other company. So what does that mean to you to be able to be there and be on the call and paint a picture for so many people around the world like myself?
For those who can't unfortunately make it to the Fountains Church this Saturday, I think commentary itself leads a lot into a match. It sells a story of what is happening in the ring. I think for those who are watching on the stream, I think it really gives them a sense of what is going on, even though they can't be there to see it themselves. From what they can hear, they can, get a bigger sense of what they think.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. And these are reasons why, again, GT Ministries UK, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Also subscribe to the YouTube page where you can watch content. Also, you can buy tickets. So there's a few tickets available that are remaining. So make sure you do that. And Big Bad Bailiff says it doesn't matter what he thinks, meaning you. So that's obviously, I'm sure he'll talk to me about your comments on that as well. So Damo says here, looking forward to seeing what Angel has in store. And if it's a new and resurrected, it will have a change of theme song. So basically, let me summarize this here. Looking forward to seeing what Gareth Angel has in store. And will he be newborn and resurrected? Will he also have a change of theme song or retire? Any thoughts to that before I get to closing thoughts and bring on Old School MC2?
Well, possibly. I mean, I'm not sure myself. We could be seeing that, but again, I'm not too sure.
Stay tuned. That's reasons why you also need to be able to follow, of course, GT Ministries and Bradley Cook Pattison. And Chris Sunshine of Adelia says, if you can't get there in person to see Jack Johnson turn up in his tank, he really does have a tank. I have to say, he really does have a tank. It's handy to have that commentary and to provide that information. I have to say, I've actually planned my Saturday day here, making sure that I'm available to watch the entire GT Ministries show. So that's how much we love GT Ministries here on Sportzwire Radio. So I want to give you the floor, Bradley. I want to give you some closing thoughts. I want you to plug anything, any social media that you'd like, anything you want to say to anybody that's going to be there Saturday, anybody at the Academy, anybody you're going to be on the call with, whatever you want. So I turn it over to you. I want to give you the floor, any closing thoughts, and I can't thank you enough for being the opportunity to share your story with us, and can't wait to have you back on. And Floor is yours. Any social media you want to plug, anything you want to say to anybody watching, listening, and fire away.
Well, Saturday is going to be an interesting night for the audience. They're going to come see a fight, a brawl, the destruction of the educators themselves. We're also going to see that massive fatal four-way match elimination between Mustafa Khan, Rabbit, Kim and Kalal, and Andy. What was his name?
We had Cayman Carlisle and the wild card here, Andy Poole. So certainly you got to get those lineups, because if you're there Saturday, you better make sure you get the names right.
Yes. Then we got Time and Crimes with Jack Johnson. That's going to be an interesting championship celebration. What is going to happen in that? Nobody knows. Bailiff, if you're going to turn up on Saturday, walk the walk and talk the talk. And it's going to be interesting to see what Pride and El Joshua can bring to the main roster of GTM.
Absolutely. And listen, there's a lot to like here about GTM. There's a lot to be interested in here. These are reasons why you need to follow, like, subscribe, and also we've got more comments in here for Big Bad Bailiff. I'm certain there's a court order for Mr. Johnson too. I'll check my files. Well, in that case, I think you might want to ask the modern day mafia for the court files, because I believe Mr. Johnson has a history, a checkered past with them. So you might want to have to ask them that question. Damo says GTM rules. We love GTM here, of course, on Sportswire Radio. And Big Bad Bailiff says he won't be getting anything right after I put him through that announce table. So that's obviously we've gone on the record with all those things. So we're excited to hear about the future. So obviously, listen, Jack Johnson in the tank. We've got people going through tables. And here we go, Big Bad Bailiff. He says here, the modern day Mafia Alliance sounds promising. Well, you have to ask Dave Douglas and Joel Cobra. I would say, Big Bad Bailiff, it could work in your favor. It could be in your cards, but you definitely want to ask them those things. So those are certainly things that you'll have to get into with them. So obviously, I'm looking forward to having you on there. Also looking forward to seeing what happens Saturday, because we got so much to get into. I mean, listen, I feel like I haven't even scratched the surface yet here. More comments here. Big Bad Bailiff says, I'll be sure to do that. So yes, definitely get in touch with me. Obviously, we'll look forward to that. And it is a tremendous honor, my friend, to have you. I'm looking forward to having you back on here. I'm looking forward to the future. For you in GTM, I can't thank you enough for everything you are doing. I'm looking forward to hearing you on the call. And I'm happy that I get to put, well, I've seen your face a little bit on the TV. I get to put now a voice to the face and see you up and running. And do you have any social media you want to plug out there where we can get in touch and follow you? Anything that we can get out there, just Facebook or anything else you have?
You can follow me on Instagram at BradCP90. That's it so far. Facebook and Gimmick page coming soon.
Okay, so we'll make sure. In fact, we're actually going to give you a follow right now. You said Bradley P90?
BRAD.
I got it. Yeah, we just gave you a follow just now. So now you got more followers. So that means we'll put the word out there for you, my friend. And obviously, sit back and enjoy the show. We're just waiting for old school MC2 to come on here another about minute or so. So definitely, I'm sure he's going to have a lot to say about you. So I'm sure that you're going to definitely want to tune in. I can't thank you enough for all that you're doing for us here when it comes to GTM and everything else you're doing in terms of representing wrestling in the community in Bradford. And we love Bradford. I know Jack Johnson says Salford, but we certainly love Bradford as well. So I can't thank you enough, my friend. Congratulations on all the success that you've had. I'm looking forward to having you on here after the 14th, and hope your voice holds up. Hope that your voice will. I hope you have a lot of water on the side, whether it's water, soda. I don't know what you do to refill. What do you do to refill?
Sometimes I have a bit of water, sometimes I have a bit of soda. It changes.
Well, take it from me. I don't have water. The reason I don't have water is because I get a stomach ache from it. So I always go with soda because I know if I have water, all of a sudden I'm going to get a stomach ache and all that. So stick to the caffeine, stick to being hydrated. I can't thank you enough, my friend, and we are looking forward to speak with you soon. And congratulations on all the success.
Thank you. Thank you for having me as well.
Absolutely, as we're here on Sportswire Radio with Bradley Cook Pattison, who's going to be on the call. He's a huge part of the GTM Academy, and we thank him for coming on here. So we are now about to bring on old school MC2. So we're going to remove Bradley now, and Bring him on here. He is here. Finally. Boy,
Finally.
if there's somebody that's got a lot to say here on Sportswire Radio, I certainly think it's going to be old school MC2 because he's heard what the working class militias had to say.
Oh, yeah.
He was even on the top tier stream. He's heard what Joe Cobra of the modern day mafias had to say. Now it's his turn to represent the educators. And my friend, good to be with you. And I like the fact that you're well dressed for this. You're certainly well dressed than Mr. Angel was when he was here, Mr. Cobra, the obviously working class militia, and certainly even Bradley. So good to be with you, though, my friend.
Good evening. Well, good evening over this side anyway. How are you?
I'm great. I'll tell you what, I'm fired up. I'm ready to go because I want to hear your side of things here. I want to hear what you have to say. I got some comments lined up already, but let's get to, first of all, what Joe Cobra had to say about you. I'll get to the tag team champions. I know you were on their stream, and they had some technical difficulties, but now it's your turn to respond to Mr. Cobra. He had a lot to say about you Friday, so your turn, my friend. Well, it looks like old school MC2.
A lot of history.
There you go. There you go. We lost you there for a minute. So
we keep internet's rubbish around here, I'm afraid. Yeah, me and Mr. Cobra have a lot of history. A lot of history. We used to be friends, believe it or not.
Really? What was that like? You and him were friends, huh? What happened there?
Well, we got along. We were happy, training and such as that. And then all of a sudden he started getting all these opportunities over the top of me. I don't think he deserved. Like I said, I went down to the BBC in London, where I may have fast counted just a little bit, because he didn't deserve the title shot off Gareth Angel at all. I should have got the title shot, but it wasn't for me. Obviously, this is what they've chose Cobra. Bit of jealousy there, bit of hatred. He keeps on building up, and it's got to this situation now where it's just pure hatred. I can't stand the fella. I can't stand him at all.
Do you think then, because I've got some comments, I'll get to the comments, I promise. I've got a bunch of people tuned in, but do you feel as if that Mr. Cobra stole your thunder, that you would be the one that would be in the spotlight, you would be the one that everybody would be grooming in GT? I know you're a veteran, I know you've been in the ring, you're an accomplished wrestler, but do you feel like in a sense that Mr. Cobra stole your thunder right now?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. You see, in this business, sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know. And Mr. Cobra is a person who knows a lot of people. But I won't say I make enemies as such, but I have my own way of talking to people, and some people don't like it. I say things as they are. I say it to the face. And some people like it, some people don't.
Let me ask you a follow-up. You said
go on.
something interesting there. You said something interesting, and I got to play both sides of the coin, and I got to ask this to you. So do you feel like, in a sense, that maybe Mr. Cobra, there's a favoritism toward him? I don't know if he's sucked up. I don't know if it's nepotism. I don't know what you want to call it, but to be an investigative reporter, do you feel that there's a favoritism or a biasness because Mr. Cobra has maybe changed his approach and GTM has rewarded him for that? I know, tough one there for you, old school MC2. That's a tough one there for you.
It is a tough one. Professionally, I would say no. Personally, I would say probably.
Ooh, well, I'll tell you what. That sounds like I would have to say that's both. And we've got some comments in here. First, let me get to somebody you just were on a stream of his yesterday. And that is, of course, from the tag team champions of CCW. That is the working class militias, Slugger Riley. And Slugger, I'll tell you something. He had a lot to say, and you had a lot to say about him. And he says here, well, you're getting your chance this weekend, boy. What do you say to that?
That's what, and as I said on his stream, I respect the fella. I respect both.
You did say that. To be fair, you did say that. I have to give you credit. You did say that.
I respect them, and like I said, as soon as we get into that ring, that respect stops. We become enemies. In that ring, we become enemies. Until such as the match is over, and we figure out that my hand's raised up high with the gun home Muttley, and then respect is given back again.
Well, certainly that reminds me of the Naughty by Nature song, Respect Due. So there could be respect due when it comes to maybe the Educators being the new CCW Tag Team Champions. And let's get to some more comments in here. And you're not going to like this one, but let's get to a bunch of them. Down Christopher Hunter says here, are you finally going to show up and win a match or lose again? You want to answer that? Because I'm not going to do that. I wasn't going to ask you that question because I want to show you respect. You're coming on to Sportzwire Radio. I'm going to let Mr. Hunter here ask you that question, and I'm going to let you respond directly to Mr. Hunter.
Mr. Hunter, as I've told people many times, I play the long game. I don't go for short victories. I play a long game. Yes, I lost to Mr. Cobra, but what's it given to Mr. Cobra? A lot of confidence. A hell of a lot of confidence right now. He's on a high. He's been wrestling here, there, and everywhere on a high. Do you know? And then once you get overconfident, that's when you start making mistakes. You see, now all my plans are coming together. I've got a championship matchup coming up now, a tag team match. Somebody's so overconfident right now and so cocky with themselves. Do you think they're going to make a mistake? I think they will. And who's going to capitalize on that mistake? Oh, the Educators. You see, it's all of a plan. I plan everything. Long term. Not short term, long term.
Okay, all right. Well, you know what? I'm going to get to some of that because you made some points that I've been kind of making. We'll get to those in a little while here. Jonathan Sheriff says, oh my gosh, someone that scares me. Class is sure in session. So,
oh, yes.
We're in session right now. Class is definitely in session. So I'm going to definitely say that that's the case here. So, and I wasn't too good in school. So I'm going to definitely say class is in session and we ain't dismissed yet. Kieran Hayes says mixed squared.
MC squared. Yes, Kieran. There goes with his little jokes. He's one of the academy students at NSAW, another place where I help train people.
Okay. Well, we'll get to, I'll be happy to get into that here for sure. And we have here, Jonathan Sheriff says here, I know how that feels. Blue Glasses Girl says, I do soda too, because I had mentioned the way I stay hydrated, because I always like to tell everybody, I cover all types of things. So I don't just do wrestling. I do news, I do sports, and I always say, well, they say, how do you keep going? Well, I hydrate myself with soda because with water, I would get a stomach ache, and I wouldn't be able to stay on the stream. So that was kind of the running joke here. Bradley Cook Pattison, you just heard Mr. Pattison. You have a history with him. He says here, Mr. MC2. You want to respond to that before I get to some more comments?
Well, I thought I chose that moment on purpose to do commentary with Mr. Cobra when Gunho was going against with Dave, because I thought, you know what, let's give some proper commentary. You know, a proper person with proper objectives, not somebody who thinks he knows what he's saying, Mr. Bradley Pattison. Somebody who thinks he can say these words and quote other commentators' words. So I thought, you know, you hop it, let somebody who knows actually what's going on sit down with Mr. Cobra and see how that went. So
fair points there. So I got a bunch of comments in here. So let's work those in. I've got actually tons of comments. So let me try to get there. Goliath is watching you, MC2. So that's obviously Goliath here has got his points, and we'll certainly try to bring those out here. And the Educators are ready to do some educating.
There he is. My star student right there. My star student.
That's your star student. So
there he is, Mr. Gunho.
But I wouldn't have said his name. But hey, if you said it, that's completely fine. But it seems like since you've said it, your tag team partner has joined you here, and he's in agreement with you. And your tag team partner, last we saw him in the ring, he did get a victory the last I saw. So certainly your student seems like he's doing some winning. So it seems like you've taught him well, and you guys got a little momentum here, especially over the modern day Mafia.
That's it exactly. I lost to Cobra on purpose to give the confidence. Take out Douglas. Oh, he feels that big right now. Imbalance.
That's fair. That is certainly fair. I can't argue with that. Listen, if you had a game plan, and certainly the working class militia, they said yesterday, they said on the air, were you trying to get into their heads? I mean, I have to, because I heard the stream last night. Were you trying to play mind games? And are you trying to play mind games on both teams?
Would I do such a thing?
I don't know. You tell me. You tell me, Mr. MC2.
Well, we'll have to wait and see, won't we, on that?
It certainly means you need to go to GT Ministries UK on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook and watch, because the tag team championship match, the Forbidden Door, has been opened. CCW. We're going to see the working class militia, certainly Slugger Riley, Wolf of West Yorkshire, defend their championships against the Educators and the Modern Day Mafia. More comments in here. Bradley Cook Pattison says, "I'll tell Mr. Cobra to bring the polish." Ooh, big words. Big words.
When they can't think of anything nasty to say, they go to the baldy parts. No, that's all they can come up with.
I've got a lot of comments. I'm way behind on comments because clearly I'm not doing my job. So let's go through them here. Damo Christopher Hunter says, "I respect you as a wrestler and think you're a great professional. Just want to see you win a match against one of my favorite GTM wrestlers."
Oh, it could happen this Saturday, couldn't it? Very easily.
And let's give a huge plug here to Nonstop Action Wrestling, NCW, new company here doing some great things. I want to make sure I recognize NCW here. And NCW basically gives you the due. He says, "We may not always like his methods, but it's hard to deny that old school MC2 is a great competitor, and we're proud to have him here at NSAW. I'm proud to have old school MC2 on Sportswire Radio."
Thank
so
you.
that makes two of us. We love old school MC2, and we love what Nonstop Action Wrestling is doing. And if Nonstop Action Wrestling likes what I'm doing, I'm on Facebook at Sportswire Radio at Tom Bryce, and I'm on sportnarium.com/player, where you can listen to all of my content and definitely give me a follow, because we want to open the Forbidden Door. We want to talk with more wrestling companies. We want more wrestling coverage. So definitely hit me up, Nonstop Action Wrestling, because we want to cover the great things that you're doing as well. We want to make sure everybody is a friend here on Sportswire. Chris Sunshine Everyday Lee says, "MC2, I have found you've always been a dangerously sly individual who fights with your brain, not muscles as much. Do you plan to take the tag title belts this month, or are you setting up for the GTM title belt, or is it plans and plans?" What do you say?
I can't give no secrets away, can I, really? I can't give my secrets away.
I wasn't going to ask you there.
You have to wait and see. That's the whole idea of paying for your ticket to come and see.
Hey, listen, I may not have a ticket, but I'm going to be watching on YouTube on Saturday. So listen, I know I'm in New York, but I'm going to be watching Old School MC2. And we've got Big Bad Bailiff, who seems like he has been a frequent participant of our stream here today. And he says here, Old School MC2, an alliance with the Bailiff. What do you say to that?
Oof. Wait and see. If I need muscle, I know to call.
If you need order, if you need a judgment, that might be the guy.
Yeah.
Bradley Cook Pattison says, "The only thing I can do better than you is not lose to Joe Cobra." Oh, boy. That's a cheap shot there. He's taking a cheap shot there.
Yeah, let him try. Let him try. Cheap shots. Whatever.
All right, well, I'm thinking of that Billy Joel song. He goes, "You're the big shot, whatever it is. He's the big shot." Bradley Cook Pattison was on Sportswire Radio. He's the big shot.
That's it. He's all full of himself right now. He's the man. Let's all bow down to Mr. Pattison. Bow down to him.
I certainly tried. And we've got Slugger. Slugger said something here that he also made a point on Tuesday's show. And I'm going to bring it up because he makes a fair point. He says here, Gung Ho actually exists. And we haven't seen Gung Ho yet on a stream. We haven't seen him on a video. I mean, that's a fair point. Do you want to continue to respond to that?
Well, I shall respond to that. He's been doing some charity work to earn money to get the Academy of Agony, which obviously I run, the Academy of Agony, a new minibus. He's been doing the supermarkets with his little bucket robbing. I mean, not robbing old ladies at all, just asking for the
Yeah, you better not say robbing old ladies. Because God knows, I cover news and I know politicians. I'll get a phone call and they say, "Tom Bryce, I heard some wrestler said his DT partner was robbing a supermarket and an old lady."
No. We don't do such things as that over here, no. Yes, collecting for the new minibus, which hopefully we've got enough. I'll be able to purchase and bring the whole academy up to.
But why haven't we seen Gung Ho, Muttley?
He's just a busy man. He's a busy lad. He's doing his studying. He's studying hard. He's working out.
What is he studying, you think?
Perhaps the human anatomy.
Hey, well, I'm not going to comment on it. I'm going to plead the fifth on that because we're a family show with Sportswire. And I am a reverend. Casey Jack Bradley says class is in session. Yeah, class is in session for sure. Now, we've got some more comments. I've got a lot of them, so I'm going to try to get through as everybody as I can. So, again, an individual related, I guess, toward Mr. Gung Ho Muttley says MC2 is the best mentor, friend, and tag partner a wrestler could ask for ready to be champs. Are you ready to become a champion? Are you ready?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I mean, I've got that there. $1 Million Man had his own belt. Old School has his own belt. That's where it goes.
You ain't going to need that belt if you're going to have the CCW belt.
And I'm going to go for the CCW
You're going to carry
belts.
that CCW belt around, that
I'm
tag
going to
team
be full of
championship.
gold. The idea is to be full of gold. Full of gold to prove exactly who we are, who the educators are, who MC2 is, who the Academy of Agony are. As much gold as we can possibly get from as many companies as we can get. That's why I respect what Sugar says. Goes to different companies, challengers, tries to go for their tag team.
Let me ask you about that, and I'll certainly get more into the match and Mr. Cobra, Mr. Mafia, Douglas, and everybody else. I'll get to that, but there is a point that I think what GTM is doing and CCW is doing specifically in that the forbidden door is open.
Yeah.
You know, you talk about all these different wrestling companies, and a lot of them shy away from working with each other for whatever reason, whether it's business, whether it's they don't want their guy or gal to lose. But look at what we're doing here on Saturday for GTM Judgment Day, right? We've got the BTW champion, the UKW champion, the UKW TV champion. We've got the Working Class Melissa, our CCW Tag Team champions. It was confirmed the other day that the Chris Onyx, who is also the CCW World Champion, is going to be in the house. I mean, think about where you're going to find this. I can't think of a company that has this. I mean, talk about the forbidden door being open, what that means to you personally, because you've been around this squared circle a very long time.
Personally, the forbidden door should always be open because every company uplifts every other company. The idea in this is to all work together to boost BritWres as a whole. So if you shut your door to somebody, then obviously you're not going to get elevated by other talent. So if you keep the door open, more talent comes in through your doors, elevates your talent roster up. And it's a win-win situation for everybody concerned.
Absolutely. And I always thought that what was great back, and I continue to bring this point up, I always thought it was great in the old territory days when you had the WWF champion, Bob Backlund, would wrestle the then NWA champion, Ric Flair, or AWA champion, Nick Bockwinkel, would wrestle Bob Backlund or Ric Flair, sometimes even in a triple threat match. Jerry the King Lawler, who was the Memphis champion, the USWA champion, would wrestle the AWA champion, so on and so on and so on. And that's the way it's good for everybody. It really is best for business.
It is, because like I say, if you have everybody in one big company, not everybody can shine. We have individual companies all grouping together. Each individual has a chance to shine and boost themselves up. But if you're only one company, there's only certain few who will get to the top tier, where everybody's mid card and then lower card. You can't get no higher. You're stuck. So as other companies and doors open, you can elevate yourself, which I think is what everybody needs to be.
Listen, I want to prove myself, right? I want the best. I want to be able to compete against the best. I want to prove myself, and we're definitely doing that here. And Big Bad Bailiff says the teacher has no outstanding debts. That's a good sign for you. And you have a follow from Goliath. Make sure MC2 never forgets it. So I guess thank you, Goliath, for the follow. I assume. I guess that's for me. So if you want Mr. Goliath, definitely message me and we'll work on getting you on the radio. That's a given, a no-brainer. We're happy to give everybody a chance, and we want to open the forbidden door here on Sportzwire Radio. Bradley Cook Pattison says you're too busy cheating, but cheating. I don't know about that. Blue Glasses Girl, want to give her a pop. Also follow her on Instagram at Blue Glasses Girl, Facebook and Twitter as well. She also says we welcome all of our transcontinental viewers and fans to join our live streams on YouTube and Facebook at GT Ministries. Absolutely, because we want to see the educators, working class militia, and the modern day mafia Saturday night. Big Bad Bailiff says, I am honored that the teacher will consider an alliance and to be taught by the headmaster. But did you consider an alliance? Did you consider one?
Well, we'll see what happens down the line. Fair
point. Okay. Stay tuned for that. Slugger Riley says here, come get some real gold. And you saw the gold. He had the gold Tuesday. He had the gold Monday. He had a nice piece of property there.
Oh, yes. Don't worry. We are going to go get that real gold. Don't you worry about that. We are coming for that real gold.
And he also wants to remind you that you will be facing top tier on Saturday, which leads me. Now, it was announced that the world champion of CCW, Chris Onyx, is going to have a front row seat to all this. He's going to be in the house. I have to ask you this question. What's your thoughts on that?
Everybody's welcome. I personally don't know very much about him. Yes, a champion, so obviously he's earned his credentials to online. But personally, I haven't seen him wrestle, so I can't
He's a
gauge
big man, by the way. He's a big man.
He's a big man. I can't gauge him. Am I feeling threatened? Not really.
Are you sure?
Not
Because
really.
the
Not
numbers
yet,
could
no.
well be in the advantage, in the favor for the working class militia. Are you sure you're not afraid? He's a big man, and the working class militia are on quite a run right now, top tier. I mean, they speak for themselves. You were on their stream Tuesday. They were very, very, very angry men.
They were very, very angry men. Again, angry men make very, very many mistakes. They get too carried away in
Is
their
that
anger.
you trying to get into their heads again? Is that you trying to get into their heads?
No, I wouldn't do such a thing. I'm just stating the obvious.
Okay,
No.
okay. That's certainly points that we can certainly maybe agree on or not agree on, depending on who you are. And Joshua Ellerby says here, despite his cheating tactics, MC2 is one of the finest wrestlers I've been in the ring with. That's got to make you feel good hearing that.
He does have the cheating, but it's only cheating if you get caught.
But he said, though, you're one of the finest wrestlers you've been in the ring with.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
We've got here Chris Sunshine Everyday Ray. Wrestlers wrestling each other over and over and again are just going to get good at fighting those opponents. Shake it up a bit, add in outside talent. You've shaken up your fighting style. You have to get better, more powerful, or get destroyed. Everyone benefits when their talent is shared. Absolutely. Everybody can agree about that, whether it's CCWs, Working Class Militia, Chris Onyx, Modern Day Mafia, The Educators, Bentley, Jack Johnson, Rarebit, and it's a good question here from Damo. I want to ask you then, apart from your match, what match are you most looking forward to? That's a good one.
Ooh, I am looking to the four-way one with all the champions. I'm looking forward to that one.
That's a good one. I think that's the match is so curious because you've got Rarebit, right, who's the BTW champion. And you got that whole dynamic with Dangerous. Then you've got the UKW champion, Mustafa Khan. You've got the TV champion there, Cayman Carlisle. Then you've got this wild card in Andy Poole. I mean, what do you think?
It's a hard one to gauge. Is that one? Who do I there's too many variables to gauge who's going to win that one. To be honest, it's whoever pulls out the lucky one on the night. I'm afraid any one of them could pull out with the win. Any one of them.
And that leads me to a comment from Mr. Slugger, and he made a point that I made on Monday in that could it be a five-way? I mean, I'm sure that GTM and the Shadow GM, as has been pointed out by Baby Bailiff, that I don't know. I mean, do you think maybe? I don't know. I'll throw it out there. Chris Onyx, the CCW champion, could be in the house, and maybe he's got his gear with him, his boots. The old adage is, as a wrestler, you always bring your ring gear with you.
You do. Never say never. Innit? It's a never say never. You don't know. They could quite easily make it a five-way. I'm not in the ear of the management, so I couldn't comment on that one, but never say never.
Absolutely, never say never. And Damo Hunter says, would you say if Rarebit wins, if he doesn't have his mask, can he overcome Jack Johnson if he beats Bentley? Now, those are some big variables here because obviously Jack Johnson and Bentley, I don't know what your thoughts are, but I'm going to ask because now you bring it up. But then this whole thing about Rarebit, because Jack Johnson believes he's the one that controls Rarebit. He's the one that knows how to tame the beast. Rarebit has never beat Jack Johnson. So Jack Johnson basically is saying that he's the master and ruler of Rarebit. But then we've got this whole scenario here about can Jack Johnson beat Bentley, who conversely is the number one contender to Rarebit's BTW World Championship. So give me your thoughts on all those.
My thoughts on that one. Both Jack Johnson and Bentley are very, very talented wrestlers. Both different spectrums of the wrestling game as well. Personally, I like Jack Johnson's chances more than I do Bentley's, but that's my personal view.
Okay.
Rarebit. Whoa, what can you say about Rarebit? What a monster. What a monster. Would I be like to in the room with him? Would I get paid a lot of money? Yes, I would. Would I enjoy my time in the room with him? Probably not. But yeah, does Jack control Rarebit? From what I've seen at the moment, yes, but could that change again? Possibly, depending. It's a lot of variables on that one. There's so many variables, honestly. But at the moment, Jack seems to be able to control Rarebit. At the moment, I will say.
Well, I'd even have to throw it out there in the fact that do we even know if Rarebit's going to hang on to the title long term? Because now you say that Jack Johnson very well may get past Bentley this Saturday, but who's the number one contender to that championship that Rarebit's holding in BTW? That's the Vigilante of Pro Wrestling, and that is, of course, Bentley.
Bentley again. Oh, you're throwing some questions at me now, are you? Let me think. Do I think Rarebit can beat Bentley? I would say if Bentley gets the crowd behind him, really gets the crowd behind him.
Bentley almost broke the ring last month.
Yeah, he did.
He almost broke the ring.
I was there.
I've heard. I've heard.
I was there. Yeah. Yeah. If Bentley gets the crowd behind him, he's got a heck of a good chance. A heck of a good chance. But then we come back to Rarebit, and Rarebit's a monster. So, where I put my money on, I would put it on Rarebit again. I put my money on Rarebit, but I'd be so with it.
Let me ask you a question, because I want to get back to your tag team championship match. And I got some other comments, but I think it's important because I want to talk about the match because there was a couple of different things I spoke about. First with Joe Cobra. He had it on with the Militia. I'm sure you heard the interview, and also with Bradley a little while ago. I don't know what you heard it from what Bradley had to say, but I'm going to ask it to you. Are you concerned from your vantage point and your tag team partner, Gung Ho Muttley's standpoint, the fact that you and the Modern Day Mafia have been embroiled in a feud for months? And obviously, you guys are beating each other up. You're picking each other apart. No question, there's a lot of animosity here right now. But are you concerned that possibly you could be focused so much on the Modern Day Mafia that that's a distraction from the working class militia, and the working class militia come away from Judgment Day unscathed and retain their championship with relative ease because you guys have been so focused on the Modern Day Mafia and convincingly they've been so focused on you? Walk me through your thoughts on that.
My thoughts on that is I want to get that gold. Me and Gunho want to get that gold. Modern Day Mafia are like a thorn in our sides, basically. Like that little fly you can't swat away all the time. You can't swat it away. It keeps on coming back. I'm concentrating on the Militia. They're an unknown to me. I say unknown. I've watched them a couple of times wrestle. So, I still need to do more homework on them. So, yeah, they're still a bit of an unknown. I know Mafia. I know what they're going to do. That's fine. They can carry on doing what they want to do. My concentration is on the Militia, to be honest. I want that gold. We want that gold. That's plain and simple fact. Yes, we'll probably get a little bit distracted by the Mafia usual games and tactics, but our sole goal, our main focus is on the Militia.
But you said something interesting, and I have comments. I'll get to them, but you talked about the fact, not to say that you aren't familiar with the working class militia, but you don't know them as well as the Modern Day Mafia. I think that's fair to say, and Slugger has a comment in here, but doesn't that make them, in a sense, more dangerous than the Modern Day Mafia because you don't know them as well? They come in here, and they've dominated all over. Look at what they've done in the CCW. They're here. Listen, take a step back. They're here because they just dominated CCW so much that they have no competition in CCW. They have goals to win almost as many tag team championships as they possibly can. You admitted you don't know them as well as the Modern Day Mafia. Doesn't that make them far more dangerous, and your focus should be far more centered on the working class militia?
Exactly. Of course. It makes perfect sense. They are the bigger threat. To me, the bigger threat. Like I say, we need to do more homework on them. It's plain and simple. We do not know all their tactics. Same token.
But how do you do that between now and Saturday? You've got essentially right now, not even 72 hours. How are you going to make up for that?
We can't make up for everything. Sometimes you have to learn by experience.
But what experience do you have, though, in this case?
Experience actually going into the ring with them. We've got a rough idea how they're going to act, a rough plan of how they're going to act. So we'll have to go with that. Sometimes you've got to plan for, we can't plan absolutely everything. with this type of situation, especially in a
Are
three-way
you
triple threat.
concerned that the Mafia are going to drag you away from this and that the Mafia just want to beat the hell out of you guys? The Mafia, in their mindset, they're going to just look to give you guys a beatdown because there's bad blood between you guys. Are you concerned that the Mafia are going to drag you into a knockdown fight with themselves? And then again, is advantage working class militia?
I think it's advantage working class militia regardless because they've got the belts anyway. From South, they've got the advantage regardless. They're on the top of the moment. They've got the advantage. But that saying, yes, the modern day Mafia will probably try and take us out. It's just common sense will try.
I don't know if you heard my question on Friday to Joel, and I actually gave a different take than what you just said because you said that they're the favorites, right? They're walking into this and they're the champions, right? And I get the whole point that you got to beat the champions in order to be the champions, and can't discount the championship. I get that. I cover sports, I cover news, I got all that, but they're in GTM's house. They're in your house technically. The Fountains Church is the educator's house. This is where class is in session. This is where the school is. Don't you feel like, though, in a sense that you should be the favorite because it's GTM that's on the line? Two members or two teams of GTM are the ones that could walk away with the championships. They're going into enemy territory now. Shouldn't you feel like that it should be GTM that's favored over CCW?
Oh, yes, GTM will be the favorite over all this lot, but I'm playing the underdog in all this. We are the
How are you claiming the underdog?
Listen. We are, as they keep on telling us, the modern day Mafia and the militia, the smaller men, the smaller team. We can't do all this beating up business. We can't go around smacking people's heads in like they can. Fair dues, I give them that. They've got the advantage over that. The point is, we've got this in our favour. Yes, they're coming to our house. Yes, we're going to test them in the ring for a little bit, see what they do. We can't do anything more about that. And then once we see what they do, how they act, then we can adapt and then take back over. They will end up being the losers. But like I say, at the moment, they have the advantage because they are an unknown. Until we step into that ring, but as soon as we face each other in that ring, lock up, then we'll know what's business. We know who's who and what's what and what's going where. Until that, it's still an unknown.
Well, we know the old expression is fear of the unknown. So there's certainly there is that here. And MDM are very good wrestlers, but the educators could quite easily win with their tactics. But working class militia are clever and work well. They absolutely work well. No question about that. They definitely work well. Very, very well here. I could not agree with you more. Bluegrass's Gorilla says, I had to have extra thick gaffer tape at hand pre-match, and the ring still may need emergency repair after Bentley had been smashing those. Yeah, Bentley, I mean, I don't even know how the ring is going to stand on the side because you got you got Jack Johnson and Tanks. You got the triple threat match. You got Rarebit in the fatal four-way. Who knows what else is going to be with that? We still haven't even spoke about Gareth Angel. Who knows there? And another comment here from Slugger. Let's get Slugger in here, and he says, we don't see it that way. We're the favorites in every match we have. Standards.
Well, problem being they're in our house, and the problem is, like you said, there's two teams in that house. One team is all out war and fighting and brawling. The other team, calm, collected, smart. So I say you're in our house, Slugger. So just be careful. Just be careful. And I'm sure the sly smart ones will end up on top. You will just carry on fighting.
Sounds to me like ring psychology there. Sounds like the games could be played. Games could be going on here at Judgment Day. These are reasons why GT Ministries UK on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, subscribe. And Damo's got a good question. He says here, now don't tell me this right. I always like to say when I bring these questions on, because I always hate to have this question thrown out there, but it is a good one. And I'll ask it to you, but I would advise you, because you have people listening and watching this, don't give away your strategy. Don't tip your hand. But who are you looking to take out first on Saturday?
No comment.
I tell you what, that's probably the smartest thing you've said here tonight, because that's
thank you.
No, I would have advised you to not say that, because automatically that's what they're going to know. You don't want to tip your hand. Listen, you don't tip your hand. Absolutely. Good one on that. Chris Sunshine Everyday Lee says, WCM and MDM are going into the ring for wrestling. Educators are going in there to play chess. Chess beats checkers. Am I right? I guess here we have a technical difficulty here with the old school MC2 from the Educators. Old school MC2, are you with us? Let's get to some comments while we wait for old school MC2 to come. There we go. There we go. We lost you there for a minute.
Yeah, silly internet.
So the old expression is, does chess beat checkers?
It's more strategic, so generally, yes. Checkers just jump over top of each other. Chess, it's a really hard thought out game. There's a strategy involved.
That sounds like to me that the working class militia, the modern day mafia, are playing checkers when the educators are playing chess. Goliath comes in here and says, you may be busy this week, MC2, but don't forget that open challenge of yours the week after May 21st at Nonstop Action Summertime Slaughterhouse. Let's get to that real quick. Let's put over Nonstop Action Summertime Slaughterhouse. Talk about that event. Talk about your involvement, what we can expect there for May 21st next Saturday. Talk to me about that.
Oh, Summertime Slaughterhouse is NSAW's second event, a proper professional event down at Swinton in Rotherham. Yes, I've got an open challenge because management at the time didn't think it was well enough to have me having a match on. So obviously I went to them and gave them an earful and said, right, you can have an open challenge. So on the night, on the 21st, I will walk down that aisle and I will issue a challenge out and see who's stupid enough to come and face me. Who's stupid and mad enough to come and face me. We shall see. And also the Academy of Agony in the house as well. So it'll be a good show. Lots of good matches. Get yourselves down there as well. The week after GTM.
What does Nonstop Action Wrestling mean to you?
It is, how can I put it? It's like a baby to me in a fashion. I will give you a bit of history. I fell out with wrestling for a bit, and you know, I just lost all interest. So I did stop doing it for about a year. And then
why did you lose interest?
I think it was the people. I was in a negative environment where I was training at the time. I'm not going to go into where I was training at the time.
Sure, understood. I respect that.
That's the thing. But it was a negative feeling. I thought, you know, for me, I'm not fitting in, and that was that. So I didn't do it for a year, and I thought, you know, whatever. And then I saw this new company start up, NSAW, just starting up. I thought, you know what, I'm getting a bit unfit. Let's go down just to help, you know, just get fit again. Not do anything special, just to get fit again. Anyway, I started going down there, and great group of people, best group of people in the world you could have, really friendly, like GTM, great group of people to get along with. And as I said, I've been going now for a year and a bit now, and then now being a trainer down there, assisting as much as I can do, keeping it going. So it's a very, very small company at the moment. Hopefully working together with the companies and building up, you know, as much as we can, like I say. Well, through NSAW is where I got in touch with Gareth, and that's how I am where I am right now. So there's a lot of things happened in a succession to get me where I am right now. So that's a bit of a history lesson.
What does GTM mean to you?
A lot as well. That's a place that's given me lots of opportunities. I'm a nasty, evil person, but also I do pay respect to people who have given me the opportunities and everything else. I'm not a disrespectful person. I say, Gareth has given me lots of opportunities. Everything else took me down London to the BBC, fast count to Joe Cobra. What an opportunity that was! Yes, you know.
Well, you're gonna hold that one over, Joe. He talked about that on Friday's show.
He hates that.
Talk about that, Mr. Cobra.
He hates it because on national television. He hates it. It's brilliant. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, I am a nasty person, but also I'm a respectful person. Like I say, NSAW is my baby as such. Yeah, GTM. his family as well. They're both family to me, and
All
I
right,
will
very,
stick up for
very.
them. That's the way it is.
That's absolutely. I don't disagree. We love GT Ministries here. And Connor Calder says here, everyone has a plan until they get hit in the face, I guess, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, we're gonna definitely see what happens
Ooh,
this
Connor.
Saturday. I mean, boy, yeah. I mean, that's
Connor
I
the
guess we're gonna see
turncoat. Yes, carry on, Connor. Carry on.
the turncoat boy here. And we've got here the Fountains Church is his house, but nonstop action wrestling is mine. Boy, that's big words there. I mean, I guess
We'll see. We'll
we'll
see.
find out here. Look, another good question here. Let's bring this up here from Damo. So, what are your plans at GTM after the tag team match? Do you have plans on focusing on the GTM World Championship with the current champion, Jack Johnson, who's going to be obviously in the ring with Bentley? But what's your plans and thoughts overall on that?
Well, if you don't go for the championship, you're in their own business, aren't you? Really, you have got to be focused on getting a championship. That is the end game, not just to be a mid card, not just to be at the bottom of the pile. You want to be at the very, 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 very top. So yes, my eyes are on the championship. It'd be stupid not to be on the championship. My time will come. Right now, I've got to concentrate on Saturday on the CCW championships, the tag team championships. Right now, that's where my focus is now. Once that is out of the way, we'll see where we are. But yes, I've got one eye on the championship.
All right. Well, we'll certainly see. And obviously, we're looking forward to all those things here. We've got another about 15 or so minutes with old school MC2. And a tremendous honor to have him on here. He's a pro wrestling star with nonstop action wrestling, GTM. And he has been an accomplished person in the squared circle. Very excited to have him because he's just literally hours away from his huge CCW Inter-Promotion Tag Team Championship match here at GTM Judgment Day. He'll be in the ring here as part of the Educators against the Modern Day Mafias, Joel Cobra and Dave Douglas. Also in the ring will be the Working Class Militia, the current tag team champions, representing also top tier. That is the Wolf of West Yorkshire and Slugger Riley Militia. So excited to have the match opportunity here on Sportswire Radio. I am the host of the Sports Report and the station manager here of Sportswire Radio. And if you like what you hear from us on Sportswire Radio, do give us a like on Facebook at Sportswire Radio, and more comments are in here, so let's get to them. And KC Jack Bradley says here, MC2 will have a lot on his hands with the Working Class Militia and the Modern Day Mafia and nonstop action wrestling. How will MC2 keep his momentum going? So, how will you keep that momentum going?
Coffee is the answer to everything. Coffee. No, just keep on going. I'm old school MC2. That means old school values. We just keep on working and working and working and working. That's all we do.
Well, I could certainly see. Listen, I mean, coffee certainly is old school, but to be fair, I drink soda. So what am I to say? I mean, obviously, Damo's got another comment in here, and he says, MC2, you're a very evil person in the ring, but out of the ring, when I speak to you at the show after training, it's always great to get in your take and what people can prove upon as a great teacher of the sport. I want to get to this because this is something interesting, because there's somebody that comes on my shows every Friday. He's a part of the Sportswire Radio team. You might have heard of him. His name is Wildfire Nate Reese, and he's a very, very accomplished veteran here in the scene. And he's kind of also like an elder statesman and a floor general to many in the LWF and now Odyssey Pro Wrestling. And what does that mean to you to be able to give back to those, whether it's like a Damo Hunter or now your mentorship with Gung Ho and anybody else that you come across, because it is important to be able to give back here. So what does that mean to you to be able to help those and be a mentor in a sense?
To be honest, that's one of the best parts of where I am right now. I love teaching people. I love helping people. I enjoy seeing them accomplish something. When somebody struggles with a little bit of tech and they're struggling, and all of a sudden they get it and it sticks and they've got it like that. Oh, it's such a feeling. They've accomplished something. You've helped them accomplish something. And, that's the next step for me is just helping, students now learn little bits and bats and, help them get through. It's rewarding. It's a rewarding thing. I say wrestling's forever evolving. I may do some stuff different to other people and other people do stuff different to me, and which is all good because it all comes back into one whole thing and mix everything together. And you've got a new generation of stars coming up, new generation of wrestlers, new generation of people to go through all those forbidden doors. And you can say, I've helped them. I've helped them get there. And that's brilliant to me. Old school or no old school, that's the best part.
And we've got here from Kieran Hayes, personally, I love you, Mark. Never forget it. Wouldn't be where I am without you. I mean, that's pretty strong words there. And, I've been doing this 3.5 years, and that's, as important and poignant a comment as I've seen on here. And Casey Jack Bradley says, I look forward to Thursday trainings because I feel it's a fresh start for me, and I look forward to continuing learning from the best teachers. You've seen what the Academy has done here in GTM.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the Academy, because I know a lot of students are watching and listening to this. They're a huge part of our streams. We're going to be speaking with some of them. Bradley just came on, all kidding aside, and walk me through the GTM Academy and how important it has been to help so many people.
Oh, it's a brilliant thing. So we have a fair few members now who come in every week to train, to talk, have a laugh, train, work the backsides off. It's such a lovely feeling, and like I say, it gives everybody something to aim for as well, because some people get into a situation where they've just not got anything, or they feel they've got nothing, and it's just somewhere where people can go, achieve, and have a great group of people around them. I'm going to break, old school's getting a bit sentimental here, but it's
Believe me, I didn't expect that to be this way.
No.
I thought we're going to be, we're going to be.
I expect to be all angry and horrible, but it's not happening that way, is it?
No, not really. No, not really. I'm sorry to disappoint everybody on that.
Yeah, but no, it's like I said before with the training people part, it's a rewarding thing, and it's rewarding to see people get along with each other. It's rewarding to see people have vans and make friendships, and it's a good thing. Like I say, we're helping the next generation of stars to go through them forbidden doors like we are doing now, and it's such a good feeling, and I just hope it carries on.
Absolutely. And listen, when it comes to professional wrestling, as I've always said, it's like an apprenticeship. Everybody has to learn, start from somewhere. So you have to be able to give back that knowledge. And certainly we're getting more comments, so let's bring them in. And Damo again says GTM Academy is going to go very far with the tutors of MC2, Gareth Angel, and Joel Cobra.
Cobra.
We got the best two. Well, that's always going to change his mind, but we do have some of the best tutors around. And Blue Glasses Girl chimes in here and says, what's great about the GTM Academy is it's inclusive, it's open to all, it makes it known anyone can become a professional wrestler.
Plus also with GTM Academy, it's not just concentrating also just on wrestling, it's also concentrating on doing managerial work, it's doing backstage work, it's doing the whole thing. It's not just concentrating on just in-ring performers, because some people want to be wrestlers but then find out that they can't. There's something like they can't bump properly, as for instance, or it hurts them too much. So why do you try to be a manager? Oh yeah, and let's just go straight into that role. It's an evolving thing. It's not just like you've got to be in that ring all the time. No, we're showing different places where there could be, even if it's backstage, helping out with, setting stuff up. It's all part of the same thing. So yeah, it is definitely inclusive.
I listen, and I think it's also important because May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I think it's important for a lot of these students and people have a place that they can go and talk to someone and be amongst each other and not have to worry about anything. And obviously that's important here on Sportzwire Radio, because tomorrow evening here in the U.S. and New York, we are a part of a telethon and an event that we're promoting. So it's a very, very important stuff here. So we want to make sure we support anybody that helps the community in different ways. And Kieran says here, I'm tuning out, Mark. I'll catch you at Nonstop Action Wrestling Training sometime for Summertime Slaughterhouse. Much respect for Sportswire. Yeah, we gave you a follow. So anytime you want to talk with me, Kieran, you want to come on the radio, obviously, we definitely want to make that happen. We're open to anybody coming on. So thank you for your support, my friend. And we definitely want to make that happen and make those connections. And Damo says, I'm training to help out backstage and be a manager or something like that at the moment because of a previous injury from football. Going back to what you said, here was somebody in Damo that, you know what, he can't go out there and perform the activity of bumps and
Yeah.
day-to-day activities of being a wrestler and putting out, 70, 80, 90 matches a year, but he's still going to be involved. He's still going to be a
Exactly.
part of the squared circle. Look at what we see with Bradley. Look at even what we see with Joel doing wrestling, but also commentary. So wrestling, there's always something for everybody. There's always a task. So like other sports, you do football, you play football, that's it. No, with wrestling, you can learn to, whether it's helping out with the ring, setting it up, whether it's also doing commentary, whether it's interviews, backstage work, being an agent. There's so many different things here. Well, Casey Jack Bradley says, what I like about GTM is it's not just a wrestling promotion. It's a church where people who've had tough lives and bad pasts can go and get baptized and be welcomed with open arms without judgment. That's important because you know what? It gives everybody something. And it's also bringing wrestling and church together because you don't think about that so often. You don't think about the fact that wrestling and, Jesus Christ and religion or a better life can be those things. I mean, it's really something to offer for everyone. That's why GTM is such a great place. And that's why GTM Ministries UK, you certainly need to follow again on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Also, you want to make sure you follow Old School MC2 on Instagram. Also, Blue Glasses Girl chimes in here. That's right. We make a role to suit everyone at GTM. People at GTM understand mental health and love to provide a space to train, chat, and make friends. And that's what it's about here on Sportzwire Radio. People ask me all the time. They say, Tom, how have you succeeded in 3.5 years? How have you done it? And I always tell people, it's always the center for everybody. It's about community. It's about bringing people together, whether it's working with my communities back home in New York City, with my colleges, my high school sports, professional wrestling here in the UK, whether it's all my minor league baseball players, all the different things. It's about community, bringing people together. That's why we're successful. Bradley agrees, absolutely. Chris Sunshine Lee says, look at selling any concert out for top bands. For 8 people work on a stage, there's 50 people who do the actual work to make it look good, sound good, doesn't burst into flames. Without backstage, there's no show. Big props to an underrepresented band. Absolutely. Listen, there's a lot of people that do that, and I got a good one here. This is a good one. We're going to break up the love fest here and get ready to go on into the final thoughts here. So, MC2. Are we going to see you at CCW? And that also means, are we going to see you May 27th, National Coloring Ball? I see this.
Yes, I would love to be up at CCW. Whether the management of CCW want me up there is another matter.
Now, if you're the tag team champion, wouldn't that answer be? Now, if you win on Saturday, let's just say hypothetically you win. You're the tag team champion with Gung Ho Muttley. Would that mean you're automatically in the house?
Yes, definitely go up there. I've got the belts. Yes, definitely.
So I guess that...
But I will say, at the moment, since I have not got the belts, I'm not going to jinx it by saying I'm going to win I'm not going to jinx it. At the moment, I have not got the belts. So yes, I would love to be at CCW. Where the management lets me, that's another matter. But once I've won the belts, you'll be sick of seeing me at CCW.
What do you want to say to the man behind CCW, James Barris? What do you want to say to Mr. Barris right now?
James Barris, if you want a smart, intelligent wrestler instead of a brawler up at your up at CCW, you know where I am. I'm free and available.
Ooh, ladies and gentlemen, that seems like these are reasons why I'm excited for Judgment Day. And Blue Glasses Girl says, our shows were full-scale premium production. We have rules for all. Damo says, here, I love chatting to all wrestlers because of some of the stuff I've been through in my life, and it's a getaway from the bad times I've had. Listen, just remember, like Razor Ramon said, bad times don't last. Bad guys do. So just remember that. Certainly remember that. And we've got here, Slugger's back in the house, and he said, he's got top tier. They don't need you. That's what he's referring to Mr. Barris. What he's telling you right now is that Mr. Barris has got the working class militia and Chris Onyx. He don't need you, basically.
Oh, we'll see. I'm sure I'll get a phone call before they ask me to go up there. But, so they carry on doing what he's saying. It's fine.
Now, let me get to another comment related to CCW, who was on our stream when it came to the LWF star Balachius, who's a big man in his own right. And that's Dustin Harden. Dustin Hart says, he's addressing you, I would like to test that someday. If you ever come to CCW, bring your A game. Your response to Mr. Hart.
I always bring the A game, but for you, I'll bring the A-star game.
Ooh. Now listen, by some chance. Now, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know who's going to win. I don't know what the odds are. But listen, if the Educators are the tag team champions of CCW, I mean, that could make them certainly available on May the 27th at the National Coloring Ball. And Dustin Hart seems to agree. He says respect toward you. So he's got respect for you, old school MP2.
Respect back.
Okay, well, certainly, like I said, the Naughty by Nature song, respect due. That's certainly respect due. Respect is given, respect is earned. And Casey Jack Bradley says, I feel the same way because I feel like I can make new friends and talk to people. I feel like I have a new family, and you definitely have a new family when it comes to GTM, and you've got support here on Sportswire Radio, if that counts for anything. So I want to ask you this question related to the match, and I want to ask you first, what are your final words toward the current champions, the Working Class Militia, and also your arch rivals, the Modern Day Mafia? What are your final words to them? Because we know that they're listening and watching right now.
Militia, like I've told you before, the messages, polish them belts up, boys, make them really, really shiny. I want to see my face in them when I take them off you and you lose to Educators. Mafia, stay out of the way, boys. Please just stay out of the way. You're just there to be an annoyance. Cobra, please do not get in my way again. Please do not get in my way again. Because at the end of the day, there's only two possibilities for all of you. You'll either tap out to the final conclusion, or you'll pass out. Class dismissed.
Wow! I mean, short, sweet, simple, to the point. Old School MC2 has made his declaration that class is no longer in session when it comes to the Working Class Militia. And speaking of Joe Cobra, Mr. Cobra has now appeared.
Oh, I wondered when.
We were all wondering that. And he says here, the time for talk is over. May 14th is all action. I got to give you a response to that.
Time talk is all over. Time for action. Time for action. Yes, Kovacs, all you do is just carry on with action. We're actually thinking about anything first, and that's where you go wrong all the time. You never think before you act. You always act. Always go for it. Always no thinking involved. So you just carry on. Yes, the action's going to all be on the 14th, but you know what? It's fine. It's fine. We've planned for you and Dave Douglas. We've planned for you too. That's fine. I said, Militia, keep polishing them belts. Keep polishing them, boys. And CCW, when we do win them belts, we'll see you at your next show.
And we've got more comments from Mr. Cobra. Mr. Pattison says he agrees with Mr. Cobra. Blue Glasses Girl, welcome to the GTM family. Appreciate that. But Mr. Cobra says here, don't go wiring when I pinned you. 1, 2, 3. I said, don't go wrong. He said, didn't go wrong when I pinned you. 1, 2, 3. That's his response.
Many times do I have to say the same thing over and over again? I let you win, me Cobra. I let you win. Get the confidence up. Yes, see, you keep on going about it. I pinned you 1, 2, 3. Yes, you did. Well done. You can remember something. Well done. That brain does work somewhere along the line. Brilliant stuff. Problem is, mate, I let you. Come Saturday, it's not going to happen. I won't let you. There's a big difference. A big, big difference. That's what I'm going to say to Cobra. No, he's going to come back with something stupid, so just ignore him next time, Tom. Just ignore him.
Well, he's going to come back on. I have to announce it. He's coming back on next week to talk about this match. Mr. Cobra has already declared that he's coming on after Judgment Day. So he's going to make his declarations heard regardless of the outcome of the match. So automatically, he's the one that's firing the first shot. It's not you. It's not Gung Ho Muttley. It's not the Working Class Militia. Now, certainly, something tells me we're going to hear from all three camps. But he's coming back on next week. And he's going to talk about what's going to go on here. So certainly, Mr. Cobra, we have not heard the last of him by a long shot.
Well, if you'd have me back next week, I'll be quite
I'll
happy to
bring
come
him
back
back.
on.
I'll tell you what. You know what? I'm going to go further. I'll tell you what. We're going to do something a little different here in GTM. I'll tell you what. I'm going to go and say something here, and I don't know what management's going to say. I don't know what Mr. Barris is going to say about it, but I'm going to go out there, and I'm going to go on a limb and say, here's what I'm going to make my declaration. I'm going to go on the record, and I'm going to do something totally different here. So I'm going to do a CM Punk pipe bomb here. This is not scripted. This is a shoot. This is whatever you want to call it. Next week, we'll figure out the time. We'll figure out what works for all camps.
Mm-hmm.
If we want to have on Mr. Cobra, Mr. Old School MC2, live here on Sportswire Radio, you want to throw in Gung Ho Muttley, you want to throw in Mr. Douglas, you want to throw on the militia, you figure it out. Between Mr. Barris, Mr. Angel, whoever else, I'm throwing this is a shoot here. I'm going to go on the record here. Pipe bomb here. Host of the Sports Report, station manager of Sportswire Radio, because we see so many people tuned in right now, and people clearly want to hear us talk GTM. I'll go on out there. Mr. Cobra, Mr. MC2, whoever else from all these camps, if you want to come on live next week, face-to-face, and talk with one another, bring it.
Anytime.
Mr. Cobra, I'm throwing it out there to you. You want to come on? I'll even throw it out there to the militia. If you guys all want to talk here on Sportswire Radio, we'll let you talk amongst each others. We'll make it happen here. It's never been done before. We talk about forbidden doors being open. When have you seen wrestlers go face-to-face live on the radio? And ladies and gentlemen, we've heard it here first. Breaking news. Slugger Riley Militia says they're going to be there. They're saying confirmed. You get the time, you get the date, we'll make that happen. They're going to be there. Slugger Riley also says here, still champs. So that seems to be like the challenge has been accepted. Old School MC2, you're going to get what you want right now in terms of the working class militia. They're going to be with us on Sportswire Radio. They're going to be there with you. Now it's a matter of, what does Joel Cobra think? Mr. Cobra was the big man and said, hey, listen, don't get wrong. And we've got also more breaking news. It seems like, from a good source here, Gung Ho Muttley will be there on Sportswire Radio. You are going to get his debut because he's going to talk about what happens next Saturday. He says here, Gung Ho will be there and says, hope the webcam will pick up that shiny new belt. Boy, it seems like the working class militia, according to the educators, we're going to be able to polish those belts and give it over. I don't know, though. But Slugger says here, Cobra ain't going to be able to talk. So it seems like, is Mr. Cobra chickening out here? Is Mr. Because right now we've got, listen, the working class militia confirmed. We've got the educators that have confirmed. But what about Joel Cobra and the modern day mafia? Because
what's up, Cobra?
First here on Sportswire Radio. You've never seen something like this. We'll make it happen here live because we have the power to do that. You're getting the educators. You're getting the working class militia. They're going to go face to face and talk about what happens here next Saturday. But what about the modern day mafia? Because it seems like they've gone MIA here. I mean, what's going on here?
Surprise.
I mean, this is, I gotta say, and finally, the bat signal has been turned on because now we've got the confirmation from Joe Cobra. He's going to be there. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is as breaking news as you are ever going to get. A first time ever, maybe ever, period. GT Ministries, CCW, Sportswire Radio in the same house, the same time, same channel, the same place. A confrontation like you've never seen before. You've never seen this in WWE. You've never seen it in AEW. You've never seen it in any company. You are going to get from CCW the current tag team champions. Will they be the champions by next week? I don't know that answer. That's going to be the working class militia. The Wolf of West Yorkshire, Slugger Riley Militia. You've got the educators, Gung Ho Muttley, first time he's debuting on Sportswire Radio, and Old School MC2, and Joel Cobra, and we're assuming Dave Douglas as well. So this is a first time ever. you are going to get this. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, this is of epic proportions. This is pay-per-view. Listen, you thought people were tuned in tonight? You thought people were tuned in the last week? You just wait till next week. We'll figure out the date, the time, and location. We'll work with all three camps. We'll work with, obviously, management of GTM. We'll work with Mr. Barris. We'll make that happen here. Dustin Hartz, this is going to be epic. Damo says here, love this. MDM, educators, WCM, all in one place, discussing this match and maybe future matches with these three teams. Thank you. No, thank you to the people that are tuning in. Thank you to the people of CCW. Thank you to the people of GTM. Thank you to everybody who's supporting Sportswire Radio that's tuned in here, because this is something you never seen this before. We talked about the forbidden doors being open between the other companies. Now we're seeing the forbidden door being open where wrestlers are going to go face to face and confront each other after just being in the ring from each other. So that is going to be a top priority. This is something we want to make the people happy. We want the fans to be able to talk here. And also, we've got here from Pride, since this Judas S portrayal of Gareth Angel from Maverick Matt Williams, Maverick has drastically fallen. I do hope he has some reason for his painful breaking of trust, or I hope that Angel has it in his heart to forgive Maverick Matt Williams, or if not, has Maverick Matt Williams the path he has chosen unwise? Well, that's for them to decide, Pride. Right now, we're worried about the fact that we've got breaking news and we've got history that's being made here. So now that we know, before we get closing thoughts, and now that we know that we're going to see a first on Sportswire Radio, I have to ask you this question, because you're going to not only be in the ring with the working class militia, and not only are you going to be in the ring with the modern day mafia on Saturday, you're going to be back with us next week, and we'll figure out a time for all camps to be a part of this. We'll make that happen. I'll find a way. There's always a way, and I'll make it happen. So now I want to ask you this question, because you're the guy right now that's getting the last shot. We've heard from Cobra. We heard from the working class militia. This is your opportunity. I'm going to ask you this question. I asked you closing thoughts on when it comes to what's going to happen between those guys, and you already addressed that. But I want to ask you, what will it mean to you by the time next week, if you're with us live, you have that belt right there, but if you're going to be one half of the CCW Tag Team Champions, what will it mean to you Saturday, GTM Judgment Day, if you are one half of the CCW Tag Team Champions?
It will prove to the world that we are legit threats. We are not just small people. Educators are not small people. We're not just insignificant because we're small, not big and bulky, and we fight. We use our brains. We have that belt. It solidifies us as a team. It shows the world we are something to reckon with. The educators will be on top come on Saturday. We will have those belts. We will be seeing us with the belts when we have this whole 3-team talk-a-thon, I'll call it. So, yeah.
You're going to have the bragging rights then, you're saying?
We'll have the bragging rights. You see, I still see us as the underdogs in all of this because we are the smaller team in physical form, but we have that going for us. We have that.
Wow.
And that's something they don't have.
Ladies and gentlemen, yeah. you have definitely heard some closing arguments here, some powerful closing arguments here from Old School MC2. What a powerful Sportswire Radio GT Ministries takeover tonight. And it only gets better because, well, Bentley's in the house tomorrow night. Who knows what Bentley's going to say, because Bentley and Jack Johnson have been going back and forth. I have never seen a back and forth between these two individuals. So something tells me here that Bentley is going to have a lot to say. And I have a feeling that Bentley very well might top what we just heard on Sportswire. That's very, very difficult here. We've got some more comments in here. Tommy Diamond says, now listen here, you Muppet. CCW is not all about the working class militia. Dustin Hart chimes in here and says, manners on here, Tommy. Remember, respect and professionalism. So we'll find out here. But something tells me here that class is going to be back in session next week. And class is going to be in session on Saturday because Judgment Day. Triple threat tag team championships. You very well could be. The case has been made. Can the educators win those championships? So,
Not
Old School.
It's a will.
Okay, all right. So you know what? You definitely made a strong and powerful case. I got to be honest. I've heard from all three camps in the past few days, and I got to tell you something here. You're all making strong cases here, and Tommy Diamond says, "Oh, shut up, you old fart." I got to let you respond to that. You want to respond to that?
It does. That's an idiotic comment, isn't it, really, from an idiot. We don't respond to such things as that. I'm above that type of thing. Carry on, Mr. Diamond.
So you're above the fray. Okay, so certainly you're above. I don't know if maybe it is mind games. I don't know if you really are above the fray, but I'm going to say, as I always say, split the baby in half, and it's a little bit of both. So obviously, we'll certainly see. But I want to give you the floor now, my friend. I want to give you some closing thoughts. Any social media you want to plug? Anything you want to say to anybody that's coming Saturday, or maybe is thinking about coming Saturday? Because now they've heard this and they've heard the talk here throughout the week of the GT Ministries takeover of Sportswire Radio. So it is a tremendous honor to have you here, my friend. I now give you the floor. Anything you want to say to anybody listening, watching, anybody who's going to come Saturday or may come, or any social media you want to plug, and I can't thank you enough, and the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on the show. It's been brilliant. Yes, you can follow me on my Instagram, old school MC2 on Instagram. I've got a TikTok, believe it or not. Got to do all these modern things. Not very good, but hey, obviously follow GT Ministries to keep up to date with everything what's going on. And yeah, please come to the show. It's going to be one heck of a show. One heck of a show for everybody to enjoy. See it on YouTube and on Facebook Live. Also, the week after, NSAW is doing Slaughterhouse. Look on Facebook for NSAW for that. The tickets are available still for that. But yeah, thank you very much for having me on your show, and I can't wait for next week.
Oh, I can't wait. But most importantly, I can't wait for Saturday. I can't wait for watching you in the ring, and obviously the modern day mafia, the working class militia. I also want to give a plug to CCW and Mr. Barris, because they have shared our streams on their Facebook page. I want everybody to go to the Coverly Championship Wrestling page. Also, May 27th is their event, so I look forward to continuing to promote that event. GT Ministries UK also on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube as well. Also, please follow Old School MC2 on Instagram as well. Also, Facebook for more information on everything that he is doing. So, obviously, final comments in here from Damo. MC2, good luck. But for me, the working class militia are going to retain. See you Saturday. Well, that's what Bradley said, but that's his opinion, obviously. We'll find out in the ring. He also says here, sorry, Cobra, just can't see them losing. So that's an opinion. That doesn't mean that's going to happen. We're going to find out. Obviously, we've heard great cases from everybody. We'll continue to hear the dialogue tomorrow night as we get the final words from Bentley. So congratulations on all the success. Congratulations on the comeback in the ring. Congratulations to everything you're doing. We'll see if I'm going to call you champ by the time next week you're back on the air. We'll certainly stay tuned, but I'm looking forward to all the success here that GTM is a part of, and I cannot thank enough again GTM and CCW for their support, their friendship of Sportswire Radio. I'm looking forward here to speaking with you, and Damo says looking forward to seeing Bentley. Bentley is 8 p.m. British Standard Time, so if you are a fan of GTM, if you are a fan of BTW, if you're a fan of CCW or a fan of wrestling, he'll be on 8 p.m. British Standard Time live on my Facebook at Tom Bryce. Also, Sportswire Radio, our flagship, sportnarium.com/player. Blue Glasses Girl also remind us it's old.school.mc2 on Instagram.
Social media.
old.school.mc2. In fact, I just gave you a follow on Instagram, so I am following you as well. So we'll take care of that. Bentley has also just spoken here. Bentley has given us a message, because everybody is messaging me here through left and right. Bentley has just confirmed, he has shared it on Instagram, that he is coming in the house here on Sportswire Radio. He'll be here at 8 p.m. And he says, don't worry. His final thoughts are, don't worry, I'll finish the week strong for GTM tomorrow night. So he will be with us. He has confirmed his attendance. So Bentley knows how to promote. So, Bentley, I'm looking forward to speaking with you. Bentley, you've got a lot to say. It's going to be the Iron Man versus the Tank, the Vigilante of Pro Wrestling versus Jack the Champ Johnson, Sulfur versus Bradford. We're going to get into so much more. We're going to get into BTW. A lot to go on here. So, I'm excited about all that. I'm looking forward to hopefully having my voice throughout the day here. So, we got comments from Casey Jack Bradley. I mean, I've got so many comment DMs right now. I'm going to promise to get to yours. But in the meantime, Old School MC2, thank you for being with us. I'm looking forward to all of that here. And We'll be back with everybody. If you're on Sportswire Radio, I want to thank you for watching. We'll be back here, as Bentley just announced for us, 8 p.m. British Standard Time tomorrow night. Looking forward to getting into all that here for more GTM Takeover. If you're on sportnarium.com/player, you're going to have to wait a while for some new content because I got to catch my breath because I've been on the air for just about 4 hours. I did LWF. I did Bradley Cook Pattison. We did old school MC2. So we're going to definitely, we'll recalibrate. We'll be back on here. I am the host of the Sports Report and the station manager here of Sportswire Radio, the Reverend Tom Bryce. We were just with GT Ministry stars, Bradley Cook Pattison, who will be on the call Saturday. Also, old school MC2 will be in the ring as part of the Triple Threat Tag Team Championships from CCW. That is the Educators versus the Modern Day Mafia and the Working Class Militia. I am the host of the Sports Report, the station manager here of Sportswire Radio, the Reverend Tom Bryce. Thank you, everyone, for watching, listening to Sportswire Radio. We will be back here tomorrow night, 8 p.m. British Standard Time. We'll be back here throughout the week to do wall-to-wall wrestling coverage. So if you like the LWF, if you like GTM, if you like anything else out there, I'm going to be covering it between tomorrow and the weekend. So hang in with us. GT Ministries UK, CCW's page, also on Facebook. Make sure you follow and like. Thank you, everyone, and good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.